Off top, I'm at your throat, go get a cough drop. I don't wanna hear any more small talk. Off that short pier, take a long walk. My style ain't free, cause it ain't off top. I'm at your throat, go get a cough drop. It's kush. I love me too much and your brain turn to mush. Fall flat on your tush. You couldn't handle the product I push. I guess I'm just used to it, I just do it. Like Nike swoosh, none of that Reggie Bush, cause I'm top shelf. I ain't got wealth, but I'm on my grind like park rails. I'd sell the shoes right off my 2 feet, then add one, that's a yard sale. Got dumb bars that be smarter than Harvard, Yale. Take your pictures elsewhere, you wanna be TMZ, I wanna be VIP. Quit pandering, I'm not answering, cause I don't wanna hear any more small talk. Off that short pier, take a long walk. My style ain't free, cause it ain't off top. I'm at your throat, go get a cough drop. I don't wanna hear any more small talk. Off that short pier, take a long walk. My style ain't free, cause it ain't off top. I'm at your throat, go get a cough drop. All of that bark and no bite, that's alright. Not everyone can be the big dog. Take a walk, kick rocks, can't keep me out cause I pick locks. They hearing me knocking, I'll never be stopping. I keep this shit popping like lip gloss.
Well, all right, ladies and gentlemen, thank you for another episode of Unscripted on a day after Memorial Day, where we honored, remembered, thought about, and appreciated every single person that laid that life down so that we could do what we do, how we want to do it, when we want to do it, and the way we want to do it. And again, man, amazing day, to be alive, and a great day for sports. We're a couple of days away from the NBA Finals to start off with, and it's damn ass hot in Georgia. Logan, what's up, my buddy?
What up, man? Hey, like you said, Memorial Day yesterday. Hope everyone had time to reflect, and had just a nice day today. Like you mentioned, man, it's hot outside, man. It is scorching today. Had some rain last night, turned into some humidity today. You know how it is in Georgia. But we are here on Tuesday, and we're going to be talking a lot of sports. I'm ready to do it.
Hell to the yes. Gonzo, I know you've been kind of under the weather. I'm so thankful that you are here and giving us some of your time. How are you doing, my brother?
Not doing too bad, man. I'm ready to watch some sports. Wish the NBA Finals started tonight. All we really got today is baseball. Probably I won't get there and watch the Reds and the Red Sox. So.
Man, I don't know about you guys, man, but literally, man, hey, all day today I have been watched with the wife Vikings. And I don't know if y'all watched that show, Vikings on Hulu, but man, is that one hell of a series.
I haven't watched that yet.
I have not.
I mean, if you're into the Vikings and that kind of, those kinds of shows, man, Game of Thrones, that type of level, it's just phenomenal, man.
I have to check that out.
So it's on Hulu. It's on Hulu. It's the original series is 6 seasons. It's Vikings, and then the the one that carries on after Vikings season 6 would be Vikings Valhalla. So that's kind of the order you got to watch it in. But it's all really freaking good stuff, man.
We've been watching Elementary on Hulu.
Elementary. I don't know, what is that about, Gonzo?
Sherlock Holmes.
I asked Gonzo what's it about, and in the background, my wife said it's Sherlock Holmes. I'm like, well, damn.
Yeah. I've been watching that with my wife. She loves it. It's actually pretty good. It's like 6 or 7 seasons. We're on like the 3rd season, I think.
Nice. Okay. Hey, listen, guys, kind of getting the show kicked off, right? So speaking of Memorial Day, I understood what Kapler was doing when he says he's going to stay in the locker room during the national anthem. Personally, I'm okay with that. I'm okay because everybody has a right, and I'm okay even with, at first I kind of wasn't. I'm not going to lie to you. At first I wasn't, but after I thought about it and really, thought about what freedom means, what Kaepernick did, I'm okay with too. And look, we all do what you got to do. If it's peaceful, do what you got to do, because as Americans, we're free. And, we don't always agree with what freedom looks like, but at the same time, I don't want to be censored, and I don't want my guns taken away. That's just me personally. And so I don't want to censor what anybody's doing. As long as it's done in a peaceful way, I'm good with it. But I got to tell you, I was really happy to see that during Memorial Day, the day that we remember those who fought for those freedoms, Kapler said, I'm not going to stay in the clubhouse during this particular day. I'm going to come out. I'm going to stand under the national anthem, and I'm going to remember those that have fallen. And instantaneously, I just got that much more respect for him, and I'm like, you know what? I'm okay with it now. I'm good. I'm good. I'm at peace with how he's doing it, and I'm at peace with Kaepernick. And like I said all along, Kaepernick needs to be back in the league if he is athletically gifted enough to still compete at that level. I'm good with it. Gonzo, what's your thoughts?
No, I agree with you. I mean, that's why we all have. That's what the freedom that we were celebrating yesterday that we have because of the people that made the ultimate sacrifice, and
right.
That's why Memorial Day is so important. With Kapler, I was glad that he did come out yesterday on Memorial Day because it showed respect to all the people that have gave up their lives for us to have the freedom that we have. And like with Kaepernick, I never had a big problem with it because, like you said, we have freedom of speech in this country. The only thing is you do have to face sometimes there's consequences. I thought the consequences that Kaepernick got was way over the top. If you wanted to be mad and wanted to have consequences, that's fine. But he should have never been blackballed from the league like he had been. But I agree with you. Now you have to go to is he still athletically gifted enough to be back in the league?
Right.
I think he could as maybe a backup, but is he going to want to come in the league as a backup? I think he still sees himself as a starter.
He already said he would come back as a backup. He's okay with that.
If he's okay with that and he'll come back as a backup, I think he'll end up back in the league somewhere. I really do.
Right. Because even if you come as a backup, if you're really that good, when somebody goes down, your number's going to get called.
But I also agree with what Stat Guy had said the other day on the afternoon show. One of the best routes for Kaepernick might be go to the XFL. Go to the XFL, go to one of these leagues, be a starter, show that you can still play. Then you'll have a better chance of getting a starting job in the NFL.
I agree with you on that. And that's a very good point that you bring up because, again, I believe that if he's good enough, he should be in the NFL. But at the same time, Kaepernick has been kind of sitting on his hands. If you want to look at it from that side, that's a good point. Why not go to the USFL? If nothing else, just say, hey, look, here's what I could do. I've got X number of touchdowns, limited number of picks, lots of yardage. Why am I? It's like building a case for why are you not? And it's like putting the people that are blackballing you on notice because they're like, hey, this guy belongs here. The evidence is there. Why are we not letting him back in?
And he might have a chance that way. You might have a better chance of getting a starting job as well. Because if you go ball out in one of them other leagues, with the NFL team that needs a quarterback, it'd be more opt to give you a chance because they've seen you perform.
Right. No, I agree with you. And at this point, I'm thinking the Raiders probably are not going to give him a contract, even though I know they kind of give contracts a little bit later after you've done your workout. But I just don't think they're going to do it. And I don't know if anybody else is really going to give him a chance. Me personally, I don't think we're going to see Cap back in the NFL. As much as I would like to see it, as a feel-good storyline, I just don't think we're going to get that. And I agree with you. I think you go to the USFL, XFL, whoever will take you on after a tryout's been given and just try to build your way back into the league that way. If nothing else, just showing the fan bases out there, hey, I can still do this.
And to me, that puts even more pressure on the NFL if you go out and show that you can still do it and the fans see it.
Yeah,
it's going to put even more pressure on the NFL for somebody to sign you. I hope what happens though if the Raiders don't sign him. Since you haven't heard a lot of media backlash about the Raiders not signing him, I think is great. So I think that might work out where he might get another opportunity, at least another workout with another team.
Yeah, I think it will. Logan, here's the deal, man. I gotta believe that the best pro day, the best practice, interview, whatever you want to call it, label it, the best way to showcase your abilities is in live games. And if he's out there in the USFL or the XFL under live, contact and things of that nature, that's got to showcase his ability to be at that next level if it's so deemed worthy. And why is he not doing that?
Yeah, that's a good idea too, Jay. But also on the other side, he could get hurt in those games, and that could diminish all of his comeback.
Well, hell, yeah, but at the same time, he ain't getting shit anyway. So why not? He's got to lose.
You got a good point too, but like you said, he might, I'm sure he's rusty. He hadn't been in a live game in multiple years. He's just now, I know he's been working out and everything, but like you mentioned, that's not anything compared to live action when you've got a bunch of fast, young, experienced edge rushers coming at you, trying to rip your head off. And
I get that too, and that's what I'm saying. Maybe you go through a preseason, right? You go through preseason. That's what or you go through a training camp, OTAs for the XFL or whatever, and you get used to that, right?
I think that I don't know, because I feel like if he wanted to go to the USFL, XFL, et cetera, he already would have. But we're all pretty sure his main goal was to get back in the NFL. And, for years it was dead quiet. There wasn't anyone giving him any form of workouts or practices, nothing like that. I know there's one, year or two ago maybe. And now, is with the Raiders working out there. Haven't heard much from it afterwards. But
right.
There's still a good bit left, in the offseason, obviously, before we get ramped up in their practices, their training camps. So they might still be waiting their decision. Because, I wouldn't sign someone immediately after a workout. I'd still, sit down and figure out, hey, is this guy a good fit for our team? Is the money whatever he wants? I'm sure he'll take a vet minimum at this point.
I think he does too. I don't think it's about the money for Cap. I think it's just about playing the game.
Yeah, because like I said, he's going to be a backup. The majority of his snaps, barring injuries, of course, would be in the preseason and the practice squad before the game, after the game, whatever. So it's not like I said. If he does get signed, it's going to be to a very short deal, little to no money at all. I think that at this point he just kind of wants the recognition of, I made it. I was in the league. I got to the Super Bowl. I got blackballed, and now I'm back. I think that's what he's kind of going for, as opposed to getting 25 touchdowns, 2 interceptions. You know what I mean? I think that he's wanting more of the personal growth as opposed to the accolades at this point.
And if he don't get on an NFL team this season, I could see maybe him getting in the XFL in February.
At
the
that
XFL
point,
don't start till later on, and with them having a partnership with the NFL now.
Yeah, that's true.
That might be something he might look into coming up after the NFL season if he don't end up on a team.
Yeah. No, I'm just going to use
February.
I'm just going to use the Pittsburgh Steelers as a prime example, and I'm pretty sure I could probably even use New England as well, behind Mac Jones and Mitch Trubisky, if you believe that Mitch Trubisky is really the answer at Pittsburgh. But I'm just going to use them as examples. I've got to believe that Kaepernick, has the mentality and experience well enough at hand. And I've seen him throw the ball. It looks pretty good. It looks like he's got his footwork. The Raiders themselves said that they were pleased with his workout and that it was a positive showing. I've got to believe that Kaepernick is a better backup to Trubisky, if not even the starter in Pittsburgh. And I believe that he's better than what Mac Jones has currently as his backup.
I think for Pittsburgh, he'd be behind Pickett and Trubisky. They battle out for that number 2 spot, because Pickett, he's the only one drafted in the first round. He's going to be the starter. And then I think the other team too, Joe, we're kind of forgetting that he could be fighting for a starting job is in Houston. I don't know.
I think they give Mills. I think Mills still gets the start there. I think he.
I do too, but I literally have no clue who their backup is.
So it's Mills. I don't know who their backup is either. You're right. I don't. It was Tyrod Taylor, and I don't know if they let him go or not.
Let me see if I can find that real quick.
Well, what about the Carolina Panthers? They have Sam.
They got too many right now. They got Darnold, and then they got
They got that draft pick,
right? The guy they drafted. So they're not going to slide. I
don't think Carolina makes the move on Cap.
There's a limited teams that would need his services,
but there's still teams out there.
Of course.
If you give him the camp spot to say, "Hey, look, let's battle it out at camp," I guarantee you he makes it somewhere. I think Pittsburgh's a good spot. I think New England's a good spot. I think Houston behind Mills, is a good spot. I think there's a lot of spots out there where he goes and he competes and he gets that, backup role. And like I said, even at Pittsburgh, I think he can roll. I think he can get into the starting job. I think he can outbeat Pickett and all them. I do.
You think a team like the Raiders are hesitating because they're thinking of how's it going to affect our starting quarterback? Is that going to put?
No, they've already came out and said that Carr knows who he is.
I know that Carr knows that, but I'm saying, do you think that maybe with some other teams that they have that in the back of their head, is it going to affect our starter?
I don't know. If you had that conversation that says, "Hey, look, we're bringing,"
I think if you have that conversation like they did with Carr up front, to me, it shouldn't be a big deal.
I don't think so either.
But I mean, you've seen other places where, I mean, you've seen Roethlisberger got mad when Pittsburgh drafted Rudolph. You know what I mean? So you've seen it when
Well, hell, you saw that even when Aaron Rodgers got Jordan Love. You really saw it when they got Jordan Love. He was pissed. Like, he was extremely pissed when they took on Jordan Love, because he wouldn't understand why they weren't giving him the wide receivers that he needed to be able to have that offensive attack. So there's a lot of animosity on Rodgers' side of the ball.
Yeah.
That's crazy to me. So here's the deal, right? So we look at Donaldson's contract with the Rams, and he says he's fine if it gets done. He's fine if it doesn't get done, because his whole mentality, and he's told everybody that his mentality was, I'm only doing 8 years in the league. I'm doing 8 years. I'm done. But then he said, huh?
Yeah, he said he's fine without football.
Yeah, but then he said once he got a taste of a Super Bowl, that he would be willing to go beyond the 8 years if he could play on a team that could get back to the Super Bowl. He's fine with that. And I think money is an issue, because at the same time, Sean McVay said that they would get a deal done with Aaron Donaldson. I don't know, man. Let me ask you guys a question. Logan, I'm going to ask you first, and then Gonzo, I'm going to ask you second. Is the money as important to Donaldson, or is going to the championship more important? Because he says it's not about the money. It's about getting back there and playing for a championship. But at the same time, what if the Rams can't give him what in his mind he thinks he deserves? Does he go somewhere else?
I think that, I mean, looking at it now, he is one of the more underpaid defensive players in the league, just because that's when he signed his contract.
Yeah.
But, I mean, I think he's more concerned with just, I don't think it's about the money. I think it's about getting a championship for him, because, I mean, there's reports before the Super Bowl, after the Super Bowl, that he isn't going to come back. So I think, because, I mean, he's already a Hall of Famer. Like, there's no question. But, I mean, like I said, if he wants more money, fine. But I think personally it's about getting that championship again.
Yeah, I definitely agree with you as well, and that's why I was kind of curious, because you got to believe, and I don't think they do. I don't think that the Rams have a lot of cap room to give him the big contract I think he's looking for. It may be a good contract, but I don't think they're going to give him what exactly he is he's worth, and you don't think that's going to be a problem. So you think he's going to value the ability to go to get the championship over that?
I think so.
Okay. That's fine. Hey, Gonzo, how do you feel about it?
Yeah, I kind of agree with Logan. I think Donald's at the point of his career where he's more worried about trying to get another championship after he got the one last year. I think him and the Rams will work out some kind of deal that works for both of them. And if they can't, he might go to another team. But the only way I see him going to another team, it's going to have to be a contender. He's not going to go. Yeah. He's not going to a team that's trying to rebuild. So if he don't get something worked out with the Rams and he can't find a team that he thinks has a chance, it wouldn't surprise me if he goes ahead and retires. He's made enough money that he's underpaid for his talents, but he's made enough money in his career that if he's smart with his money, he wouldn't ever have to work another day in his life. So
I get it. I think he's good. Like he said, where he's at. Don't come back to football. I'm pretty sure Aaron Donaldson is good with his money. And probably has some ventures outside of sports, obviously, he's going to go into. And that dude is perfectly financially. I'm pretty sure Donaldson is going to be good for the rest of his life. So I think that's why he's okay with walking away. And if the deal gets done, then great, he plays. And I think that's why he takes that type of attitude. And to be honest with you, I wish I had that kind of attitude where I could say, you know what? If I play, I play. If I don't, you know what? I got so much damn money. I'm good, bro. I'm good.
I'll enjoy my family and do other things.
Yeah, exactly.
All right, folks, here's the leading question. This is the leading question before we actually get into the physical Boston and Golden State. I want to start off with the first question before we get there, because it kind of could have affected whether it's Boston or Miami that Golden State's facing. And I think they kind of got it – well, actually, I think they got it right. So Strauss. No, I think they got it wrong. I apologize. Let me bring myself back in. They got it wrong. I think it should have been Miami going against Golden State and not Boston, and I'm going to tell you why. Strauss was on the line. Nope, I take that back. Nope, I apologize. Nope, I'm sorry. Boston. They did get it right. Strauss was on the line, and they gave him the three, and then they took the three back, but it was halfway through the quarter, or at least a good portion into the quarter, before they deducted that 3 points away from him. And people in Miami are pissed off about it because they felt like, why'd you take the 3 points away from us? But if you look at the picture, Strauss's foot is clearly on the line. The back of his heel is on the line when he shoots the three. Now, that's a pretty pivotal call. And, I understand why Miami's mad, because the call came in late. But at the same time, the call was still a correct call, and I'm okay with that. Now, some people will say, well, no, it's past. You can't be okay with it. Me personally, I'm okay with them getting the call right. I don't know. A lot of people have different opinions of that. But I think Boston, is the right pick. I don't know why. I'm sorry. I don't know why I was thinking Strauss was on Boston. I don't know why my brain was discombobulated. But anyway, Gonzo, what do you make of the late correction to their original call of giving them the three and then going back and reevaluating and taking it away?
So all they did was just take 1 point away, right?
No, they took 3 points away because he hit a three-pointer, but his heel was on the baseline.
Oh, out of bounds line. Okay,
his heel was on the baseline.
I haven't seen the play because I was watching the wrestling that night. But no, I agree with getting the call right, because you see them do that during the regular season. There'll be times that you'll be a 3-pointer shot, and then a couple minutes later they'll take a point away because they said his toe was on the line.
Right. Logan, let me ask you this. How do you feel? Gonzo's okay with it. How do you feel about knowing that the call is the correct call, but doing it in a manner that's way beyond after the fact?
Ain't that what replay's for? What are we waiting here?
No, but what I'm saying is, what I'm saying is like they gave the 3 points, they pushed on, and then they wanted to go do, and they basically held off on that. In football, if a guy makes a foul and a coach doesn't challenge it in time, and they go on with the next play, well, it's just negated. There's no going back after that. Why is it okay in basketball to go on with the next play? They go on the next possessions, because there was several possessions later before they went back and did. I mean, you know how they did it? This is how they did it. The game was being played, and nonchalantly, the scorekeeper deducts 3 points from them.
Okay. So I thought they
and nobody even knows it for a while until later. They're like, "Hey,
okay,
why are we 3 points less than what we should be?"
See, I thought what they did usually with an NBA, which sometimes made it late like that, is they'd wait till like the next dead ball.
And I'm fine with that too. But these guys,
that's
the way they did the call was that everything was fine. He shot the three, life is going on, no big deal, and then they just take away 3 points off the scoreboard.
Yeah, I mean, I'm with y'all. I think that rather than, I think seeing if the call's right, if it's wrong, if the coach challenges it, do it then there and get it over with. Don't go, down possessions, multiple, and then feel like, oh, I need to change it, because that just interrupts everything. Like you said, I mean, it took 3 points away in a game that was very close. It was game 7.
Right.
So every point, every basket counts and means that much more, especially in this game. So, I mean,
especially when it's decided by 2 points.
Yeah, exactly. So, I mean, I feel that they need to go back and look at the replay system and evaluate it even more. I mean, it's not perfect, and
it's never going to be perfect. That's the thing, Logan, and that's kind of where I guess that's where I'm asking you, and I'm really asking Gonzo, and I think Gonzo probably agrees, is that there is a certain level of human error, and if the human error is corrected, and I guess this is where the real debate is: what's more important, the fact that the call was corrected and it was the right call? Or is it more important or is it more of an issue that it was a late call or a late correction, and now it's kind of looking sus? I mean, should we just, hey, the call was missed, and we should just keep playing the game. It is what it is, and and of course the Heat would win. Or is it more important that we deduct the 3 points? And, what part of that is more important?
I like that they tried to get it right. I just think that, like Logan said, they just need to review their process and make sure you're getting it done in the right manner. Because when something like this happens, it makes it look bad because it makes it look like almost makes. I mean, people start saying the game's fixed or they're doing this to make sure a certain team wins. Where if you have a procedure and you follow that procedure, then it's harder for people to complain even if they don't like the call.
Right. Because there's a lot of controversy. At least, and a lot of Miami people that are pissed off that they took that 3 points away from Miami. And that's why I'm asking that question and I personally feel like I'm okay with it, being a late call because the call is correct. You know what I'm saying? And I don't want to see somebody get to a championship when they don't really deserve to be there because it was on the baseline and it's just a correct call. So I'm okay with that. And, and look, I think – my personal opinion is, it's not exactly a cool thing that it was late, but we have to understand human error is human error. But they did get it correct, and it was the correct call. And if it was a bad call, then okay, I get it. I see your gripe and complaint. But if it's a correct call, then even though it's a late call, and it is a lot on the line, we're talking about Game 7 for crying out loud, we still have to allow it. I don't see how we can turn back from it and look differently upon it because everybody's going to know that when Miami. Because let's say there's Strauss. Let's say we discard it. Let's say we completely discard it and say, you know what? It is what it is. Let Miami take that 3. They win the ball. Celtics go home. Miami goes to the finals. All throughout the finals, we're going to be sitting here second guessing and undermining the NBA because. We all know that Miami doesn't deserve to be there.
It'd be kind of like the NFL situation when they didn't call the pass interference on the Rams, and the Rams went to the Super Bowl instead of the Saints that year, and that's all you heard about was about how that call had cost.
Right, and I think if I'm the Golden State Warriors, right, and if I'm Golden State, I don't want Miami there if they don't deserve to be there because you know what? I'm trying to win my championship on a legitimate level, and I don't want no asterisks. I don't want nobody second guessing who we went up against. It needs to be correct. And I think that's the more important issue than the amount of time that it took to correct it. Right. That's just my opinion. All right, folks. We have said all of that to get into Thursday night's Game 1 between Boston and Golden State. And we got a lot to cover on this because I'll tell you right now, obviously Golden State is minus 160 at Caesar Sportsbooks going into this. Game 1's in Golden State. Golden State is the favorites. They're the cherry boys. They're the guys with all the experience. A matter of fact, 123 games collectively finals experience against 0 finals experience. On the biggest stage, can the Boston Celtics win the championship and be the underdogs and be the Cinderella story? Gonzo, I'm going to start with you first, and then we're going to kind of develop the story as we go along. Gonzo, what do you think?
I mean, I think they can. I don't think they will. I'm glad like you that they did get it right because I think the Celtics and Warriors is going to be a better series than what the Heat and Warriors would have been, especially with all the injuries the Heat are dealing with. But I think the Warriors are. People are overlooking the Warriors defense. A lot of people are talking about is how great the Celtics defense are. The Warriors aren't slouches on defense themselves. And I think the style of offense that the Warriors plays could give the Celtics defense some trouble because the Warriors have guys that can catch and shoot. Well, if you can catch and shoot like the Warriors can, that can take away some of the physicality that Boston's defense can get on you because you're not holding on to the ball and not trying to drive into traffic like you and where you're putting the ball in danger. So I honestly think if the Warriors, their one weakness and one of their main weaknesses this year has been turnovers. If they can control the turnovers, I think the Warriors win this series.
And I'm going to get more, and I'm going to, you know what, and that's the thing, because that's actually, well, no, I'm going to get that here in a second, because we're going to talk more about that. Logan, what is your thought process going into this series? What is your expectations? Who do you have favored, and where do you see it going?
I got Golden State getting the win in the series. I just think they're, like you mentioned, they're very experienced. They've been here before. I think Boston's going to give them a good run. I mean, obviously they're a really good team. But like Chris said, as long as Golden State can limit turnovers and not have like really bad shooting nights, I think they're going to get them because they're the fastest team in the league in terms of how many passes they get, how quick they get the court, and they, like Chris said, their defense is slept on. They have a very good defensive team, and for Boston, what they need to do, they got to shoot well. They can't have poor shooting nights and just play that lockdown defense, And I feel that if they can do that, they can have a chance. I still ultimately think just the experience of the Warriors will give them the advantage in this series.
Okay. Now we're going to get into the question and answer portion of this finals. Before we go into it Thursday, I'm going to get all the information on the table. I'm going to get all y'all's responses before we get into this. So I don't want nobody saying, well, I said this or I said that. We're clipping it. We're clipping it, and I'm going back if you denounce what you said. I'm going to set a little stage right now. The regular season series between the Warriors and the Celtics is split. It's a split regular season series between Boston and Golden State. But you know what?
It was 1-1, right?
There's an asterisk there, though. There's an asterisk because everybody knows that Golden State was not 100% throughout the entire regular season. So we can't say that the 1-1 split is a legitimate split because Golden State wasn't 100%. So who's to say that Boston wouldn't have gotten, would have been defeated both games had they been 100%. So there is a little bit of an asterisk because of injuries to Golden State about that regular season split. But as it may be, I'm going to put the information. The facts are the facts, and the facts are it is a split series.
Correct.
Having said that, as you know, like I said, the only experience that Boston has is on the coaching staff. You all know that Udoka came from Popovich bloodline at San Antonio, and there's a couple of assistants there that had and I can't, their names are skipping me, but they had assistants and they won titles under the Milwaukee Bucks Budenholzer staff. So the coaching staff has finals experience. The players have zero. So my first question is, Gonzo, how much is that going to play into account the experience level of Golden State versus the experience level of the players of Boston, but the fact that the coaching staff themselves have playoff experience?
I think the experience factor is going to play a big role for a couple of reasons. When you get in the finals, you're going to find yourself in some tough situations during games. And when you have that experience, you react to it better and you don't panic.
Right.
And yeah, I understand them coaches have experience, but that's also as assistant coaches, which the ones are assistants, but I can't say his name, but Boston's head coach, his first year as a head coach. I know he came, like you said, came from under Popovich, but it's still different being a head coach in the championship series than being an assistant in the championship series.
Yeah.
And that coach has done, don't get me wrong, that coach has done a great job so far in the playoffs. He's done great this year for his first year as a head coach. He's been impressive. But Steve, you're going against a coach in Steve Kerr, who's been in the finals, won the finals as a player and as a coach. And then with all the players on that team, there's only a few players on that team that don't have final experience. I think that could be a big factor in the series, just because you get them tough situations down to crunch time. That experience can keep you calmer and help a team not panic or fold under some pressure.
That's right, because I know for a fact that Poole and Kuminga are relatively new. I don't know if they were even drafted, or if they were drafted, they were very low drafted, and he developed them. So the fact that Steve Kerr took Death Squad 1 to 3 championships, took some injuries, lost Kevin Durant, was out of the playoffs and out of the playoffs altogether for 2 years, then revamps the team and forms Death Squad 2, and now he's in the finals. I mean, just freaking amazing. And I don't know if we can get any better than that in Steve Kerr. So I got to tip my hat to Steve Kerr and, the drafting, the developing, all of that, the rotational developments, the leaderships, the whole nine, right? Because even the fact that Steve Kerr has missed games and things of that nature due to injuries. Then he had, his assistants running the show. And of course, and I forget who's the guy that's going to Sacramento, Brian
Brown.
Yeah, Brown.
Coach Brown.
Brown's going there. So Brown even ran it for him. So there's a lot of experience in coaching and development and players. I mean, the whole thing is just phenomenal. So Logan, my question is this. Smart is coming off a quad, ankle, and midfoot sprain injuries. Rob Williams is coming back from injuries. He's had a bone bruise, and then he had meniscus surgery in March. Those injuries to him, what I equate to pretty valuable guys. They're not Tatum, they're not Brown, but Smart, is the defensive rookie of the year coming off of those injuries. And Rob Williams holding down the paint, and he's going to have to hold down the paint pretty heavily against Golden State's Kuminga and Draymond. How important is that going to be for Boston? Or do you see Boston's injuries resurfacing throughout the playoffs?
I will always say, whichever team is healthiest, 9 times out of 10 wins. Golden State, like I said, they've got some injuries, Iguodala, Wiseman, of course, but their main guys aren't hurt, right? They're also Peyton II. Yep, right.
Well, they're saying Peyton's going. Peyton's
going to play. We're going to talk more about Peyton here in a second, but yeah,
well,
Peyton's going to play.
But like you mentioned, your big guys, your Greens, Currys, Thompsons, Pools, all of those guys, they're healthy, they're ready to go. And Boston's limping, man. Smart's been, this last series he was on and off the court. We already know Williams has been hurt majority of the playoffs. So I think that's going to help him. It's going to hurt him, honestly. And then, like we said, with the amazing coaching of Steve Kerr to be the number 1 selection in the draft in 2019, 2020, and then just 2 short years later, you come back as an NBA Finals appearance, potential champion again. That more heavily and really commended, I think, because that's impressive. I get they already had the core nucleus, but to still get a brand new crop of guys that, a lot more on the last championship they were at, and still get them to a number 3 seed in the West when no one thought they'd even get that high, and then also to a finals appearance. I mean, it's super impressive. And just to answer your question, I think that the injuries for Boston, as long as, if they keep getting nagging injuries, they're going to keep piling up, man.
So since I gave you the injury question, I'm going to follow that up with you on this as well. Okay. There's 2 days off now in between games. I think until you get to games 3 and 4, and I think it changes. But there is going to be some rest in those in-between games. How important is that going to be to Boston's chances?
Heavy. Very heavy, because, whether it's a minor injury or major injury that you're coming back from, those 2 days off might not seem a lot, but it can be, man. Go to rehab one day, do a good workout. You're like, okay, I might feel ready for game 3 or whatever, as opposed to going back-to-backs or one night off, So I think the longer Boston can extend the series, the better shot they have at getting the win.
Now, Gonzo, I'm going to give you the loaded question, the crazy question. If you're Boston head coach and you know that Smart has gone through 3 different types of injuries throughout the playoffs, you got Robin Williams coming off a bone bruise, plus a meniscus surgery back in March. Are you going to monitor their minutes, or are you going to play them at normal minutes or heavy minutes? Knowing that you had the 2 games off at the very beginning of it before you get to games 3 and 4. So how do you manage those 2 players' minutes?
I think a lot of managing their minutes is you have to communicate with your trainers and your medical staff and see what, if they think there's any any risk for further damage. If there's not risk for further damage, I think you play them as many minutes as you can get out of them. It's the finals. It's just a win or go home. If you don't,
Right.
So I think something we're not talking about with these injuries that could really affect, especially Smart. He's defensive player of the year, and they're probably going to have him on Curry.
Well, we're about to get to that too. I'm already ahead of you.
What does Curry do the whole game? Curry runs around the court. He don't stand still.
Yes, he does.
That could put some pressure on that hurt ankle of Smart's, and that could also force that coach to make some adjustments and maybe split up who is on Stephen Clay to try to take some of that off of Smart, because Curry never stops moving. So, I mean, that could be a factor on a hurt ankle.
Which is exactly why I wanted your input on load management, is because of Curry and Smart being their defensive guru. How important is that going to be, given the fact that he's on Curry? We're going to come back to that in a minute, though. I'm going to let that question marinate for a minute, and we're going to come back to it. I want you guys to understand, this is the first finals to feature top two teams in defensive efficiency since 1996, Bulls versus Supersonics. This is the first time we've had top two teams defensively since Jordan.
You had Sean Kemp and Gary Payton and them on the Seattle team.
Exactly. So here's the deal. Folks. It's going to be a two-part question. The first part's going to go to Logan. The second part's going to go to Gonzo. The first part to Logan is, being that we got the top two teams defensively, obviously this is going to be a very low-scoring game. Would you agree or disagree?
I would say yes, but I mean, God, you've seen how the finals have been, man. You've seen how the playoffs have been. There aren't that low-scoring games.
No, yeah.
But I think we're going to see at least two games be somewhat low-scoring. It's just with the offensive firepower for both teams. I feel like they're going to have a rough shoot night on each end. So I'd say like two games out of the however many are going to be lower scoring than usual.
Right. And Gonzo, my question to you is, if this is obviously going to be a heavily defensive fought game, because you are facing, like I said, the top two defenses in the league, how much more now important is it to have Marcus Smart out there? And how more important is it to have him on Curry? And how more important is it to not load management to say, hey, Marcus, we need you to suck this up. Go out there and give me everything you got every single damn night.
Oh, it's going to be real important, and I think that's what they'll do in the finals, because, like you said, this is the end of the season. You have the whole offseason to heal back up.
Right.
So I think if Smart feels like he can move enough, I think he'll be on Curry most of the time. I do agree with Logan. I think there will be a couple games that are low scoring. I think game one might be a low scoring game, just them kind of filling each other. The defense is filling each other out some. Right. But the Warriors play at such a fast pace, man. If you go on a lull where you don't score for a couple minutes, you could be down 20 in a blink of an eye.
No, I agree with you. And Logan, my question. No, I'm sorry. Go ahead.
It's going to be fun to watch to see how the offenses can react to each team's defense.
Oh, no, absolutely. I definitely agree with you. And again, I think that's where Golden State has the edge here, because of the experience that they have. They're probably going to know how to handle that a little bit better than what Boston will. I guess we're going to have to see. But I think that's kind of where the edge goes to Golden State, given their experience. Logan, and then I'm going to give you the X factor for the Warriors. And then, Gonzo, you're going to get the X factor for the Celtics. I'm going to get my X factor first for both. And we'll see if you're either in agreement with me or if you're in a difference of opinion with me. And by the way, I'm not Frankie C, so you can go ahead and have a difference of opinion. And I won't chastise you for it. Now, by the way, Frankie, if you're listening, I love you. Anyway, Logan, my X factor for the Warriors is Payton II, being that starting rotation. And the reason why I say that is because he has become the defensive lockdown specialist for that team. And I think that's where they really need him the most, is his defensive presence out there. Whether he's guarding Tatum or Brown, they need him out there doing what he does, lockdown as he may be. He is the opposite of Marcus Smart. Who is your X factor? I got Peyton the second mind because of lockdown defensively, but who is your X factor for Golden State?
For me, I'm going to go the other side. I'm going to go Jordan Poole, because if Curry or if Thompson have a poor shooting night, they're going to have to rely on him to pick up the pace. And we've seen it in the playoffs. We've seen it. If one of those guys have a bad night, Poole go and score for 25 or 30 and can will them to a win. So that's who my X factor is. Also, TJ, I found out Peyton, Porter, and Iguodala all were fully practicing today. So they're taking.
Oh, that's even better. That just makes Golden State.
They're probably going to be game time decisions.
I think Peyton plays because they know how important Peyton is.
My X factor for the Warriors would be Andrew Wiggins.
Oh, that's a good one.
Because what he does on the defensive side of the ball, but he's also a guy that's capable of giving you 20 points a night as well.
Yeah. No, I mean, again, all of them are good answers. I mean, you're right. Mitch Wiggins has got to play. He's got to do what Mitch Wiggins does. So if we flip it to the opposite side, if you look at the X factors for the Celtics, I'm torn. I'm torn between two X factors. I'm torn between, like I said, I think Marcus Smart, opposite of Peyton II, is the X factor because of what he's going to have to do against Steph Curry. And I think the second step factor, which again applies to Marcus Smart and Williams, is rest. So I got my two X factors being Marcus Smart and rest. Gonzo, who you got?
I think the X factor for the Celtics is going to be Al Horford.
Okay.
Being able, because he's he's a bigger guy, he can play physical underneath, and the Warriors,
he's a junkyard dog kind of guy.
The Warriors aren't a big team. Yeah, they have Looney, but other than that, they're not a big team. And Horford can also play on the perimeter as well, and he has a lot of playoff experience. So
he does.
I think that can be something that the Celtics can lean on, is his playoff experience. So I think his play could be an X factor in this series. I mean, he had a big role in the last series.
But you know what, though, Gonzo? You know what experience he doesn't have?
Finals.
Damn right, baby, all day. But good point, though, Gonzo. I do like the Horford X factor because I've always said and I've always believed, and I take this back to my Houston Rocket days because I believe in this type of player. We had for our junkyard dog, we had Mario Elie. Mario Elie was our junkyard dog. He was that guy that just was nasty, ferocious, could do everything right. That guy, that guy that you were like, oh my God, if he wasn't here, he's the heartbeat of the team. And then I look at a Jamal Crawford for the Phoenix Suns, who's that same kind of guy. But then look at Al Horford and PJ Tucker. PJ Tucker is that kind of guy. He was with it with Milwaukee. He was with it with Miami. And then you have a guy like Al Horford, who is that junkyard dog, that energetic guy that sparks your team, nasty, in your face, and just goes after it. And I love those kind of guys, the junkyard dog type of mentality. I love that. So I like the Al Horford X factor. I think that's really, really amazing. Logan, who's your X factor for the Celtics?
For me, the X factor for this upcoming series, I'm going to go with Jaylen Brown. He's had a really good playoff so far. Only two really bad games in terms of shooting. He scored like 12 points, I think, in both of those. But other than that, he scored pretty much 20 points every single game he's been in. So can he continue that streak in the biggest, series of his life? If Tatum's not shooting well, they need him to pick things up. And as that kind of number two superstar on your team, you've got to rely on him, I think, a little bit more in these playoffs, because let's not forget he scored 40 one night a couple nights ago against Miami. So is he capable of maybe doing that again? We'll see. But I think
that's the thing, though. But you know what, though, Logan? The problem I have with that, the problem I have with Brown is I feel like you have your 1, your 2, and your X, or your 1, your 2, your 6 man, and your X. It's hard for me to put the X factor on the 1, the 2, because that's what we expect out of them. The X factor I look for is a factor in the game that is more than what we expect to come out of. So if I know my number 1 and my 2 are going to give me, I want to look for my 6 man, or I want to look for a defensive specialist, or I want to look for somebody off my bench that's going to come in there and give me something more than what I've already expected that's going to turn that title or turn that game. I don't know. The one and the two is hard for me. And I'm not trying to chastise you, Logan. I'm not saying the Browns not. Yeah, you need, but it's hard for me to put the X factor on the 1 and the 2.
I got you.
Josh Bailey comes in and says Warriors. Hey, it's an easy one, Josh. That's an easy one to call. It's easy. It's easy to say Warriors. I think a lot of people are.
I think the biggest factor out of all of it is going to be turnovers.
Yeah. And we're getting to that. That was actually my next question for you guys. So hold on to that. My question for you, Gonzo, and of course, I'm going to ask you the Celtics for Logan. The weakness for Golden State is what?
Turnovers.
Okay. So right now, Golden State's at 14.8 turnovers per game. So yeah, turnovers are huge right now. And fast break points for the Celtics is amazing. So that could be another X factor for the Celtics is if they can capitalize on Golden State's turnovers.
Yes.
So by that same factor, what is the weakness in for then the Celtics, Logan?
For me, I'm going to go different. I think they need to shoot the three a little bit more efficient. I think.
Yeah, exactly. Because they had a hard time really converting those threes, even with Dallas.
Yeah, and you can't go
even with Dallas. We kind of saw that.
If you go 3 or 4 minutes without scoring against the Warriors, you could be in big trouble. They can't have them big scoring lulls.
Matter of fact, Josh Bailey goes on to say, my computer's going slow, but Golden State Warriors play sloppy at times. It's true. They do play sloppy at times, and I think we kind of saw a little bit of that in Dallas, but Dallas just wasn't good enough all the way around to capitalize on their sloppy performance, truthfully. If Dallas could have capitalized on the lack of threes made by the Warriors, they would have been good. The problem with that is Dallas had no inside game. Dallas was all about the three ball themselves. If Dallas would have had anybody that could have scored in the paint at will, or at least on a balanced level, then Dallas and the Golden State Warriors would have been a lot closer series, and Dallas could have possibly even won had they had an inside game, at all, personally. That's what killed Dallas. And I keep telling them they've got to get Powell and Kleber, they've got to get an inside game, and that just was not the answer for Dallas. But that's just my opinion. But I agree. My opinion, my theory for the Celtics, I think what hurts them is player experience. I don't know how well Jason Tatum. I don't know how well Brown. I think Horford does okay because, like you said, I just don't know how the number 1 and the number 2 are going to perform on the biggest stage against players with the biggest experience. I think that's just going to hurt them. I think the lack of finals experience is going to be the Achilles heel to the Boston Celtics. And I think that's what pretty much what does them in. And they got to start off on the road. They're not even getting home court advantage. They're starting off on the road. So they're already starting in a combative environment. And Joshua Bagans says, Wiggins is a key. Otto Porter can defensively help if the bench is healthy and gets Gary Payton the second back is huge. I got to be honest with you, man. I think Gary Payton the second is bigger than Wiggins. On a defensive front, I think what Gary Payton gives you defensively is bigger than what Wiggins gives you because they have so many scores in their team that I think maybe Wiggins gets overlooked by other people, but you cannot overlook defense, and that's where Gary Payton, your lockdown specialist, helps you. Anyway, again, I want to ask you guys, in your opinion, what is the one element, and you can pick any team, by the way, whatever that team may be, what is the one element that is going to win this game, in your opinion? You pick the team, you pick the element, and tell me what you think. Logan, I'm going to start this time with you. What element and what team do you give it to that's going to be the overall winning catalyst to them?
If the Warriors can limit their turnovers, they will win this series with ease, I believe.
True. Not bad. Gonzo?
I agree with what Logan says about the Warriors, but I'm going to take it the other side, since just on the other side, since
there you
with the Warriors. If the Celtics get to the rim, I think that could be the big X factor in the series, not settling for threes. Because when they're not hitting their threes, if you just keep throwing them up, you're going to dig yourself a hole. If Tatum and Brown can use their size and get to the rim, I think that could be a big factor in this series, and a big reason why the Celtics would win the series if they were able to do that. I think the Warriors are going to win the series in 6 games, and I love what Logan said, because that'd been what I would have said about the Warriors. If they don't turn the ball over, I think they win this series pretty easily.
Okay.
I do
first
think
of all, I
had
had this going 6 games as well. I've been going 6 games as well because of the fact that the Celtics really struggled with Miami. They really struggled with Miami to all the way to 7 games, all the way to the last shot. And like I said earlier, and this is why I said this is why I brought this into this conversation right off the rip, was because of this. The fact that Miami could have very well been here. 2 points is 2 points. I mean, literally. I mean, that was anybody's game. And if you're struggling like that against Miami, how are you going to do against the Golden State Warriors and what they bring to the table and experience and everything else? And it's in Golden State game 1, and you're dealing with some injuries to your 2 key players. There's a lot stacked against Boston. And that's why I don't think Boston makes it past. I think 6 games, and I think we're out of here. Josh Bailey, you may want to stick around for this, because this is something that concerns your team. Because I'm picking Golden State Warriors for my key. My key is this. The Warriors have a hard time dealing with the switch-heavy defense. We saw it with Dallas towards the end of the series, and it started to help them a little bit, and their games weren't quite as blown out. But if you know anything about Boston, like I said, is one of the number 2 defense in the league, and they are a switch-heavy defense. And I think that could be, as my third X factor, I should say 3 X factors. My third X factor would be the switch-heavy defense by the Celtics that could be a very pivotal roadblock for the Warriors to get the victory. And it could push, even depending on how well the Celtics do injury-wise, health-wise against Golden State, it could even push it to a game 7.
Yeah,
so we'll see what happens.
Another factor that we haven't mentioned is fatigue. You have Boston coming off them 2 hard-fought series, and you have
That's true. That's true. You have to look at that. But at the same time, you can say that, and again, one of my X factors was rest. And so, yeah, they do need the rest for injury purposes, but also they are still in rhythm. They are still ready to go. And the Golden State Warriors have kind of laid up a little bit. So I don't know, man. Both things can be a detriment. Laying up too long can be a detriment. Not getting enough rest to be a detriment. I mean, I don't know. Those almost kind of wash themselves out for me at that level. But at the same time, with the injuries that Boston does have, I get what you're saying, Gonzo, and that could be an issue. All right, folks. I think Gonzo and Logan and myself, I think we all have Golden State winning it. We're going to give what games we have it in. I got it in 6. I think Gonzo already stated that he has it in 6.
Yep.
Logan Landers, I didn't get you on the board. Do you have it in 6 as well?
No, I like to be different. I'll go 5.
You have Golden State in 5?
Yeah, I'll go 5.
Okay. Hey.
Do
you, baby?
That's what Rob Scott has it in too. He said Golden State in 5 on the afternoon show earlier.
We need Pride on here so we can say Boston in 2.
Man, listen, I tried so hard to get Pride and to get Rob on here. I would want a fiery debate between the two of them, but I don't know. I don't know if they're just scared or not paying attention. I don't know. It's crazy. But anyway, Zion, and maybe we'll get them on Thursday. I'm going to try to get them on again Thursday before the game starts. We start at 7, I believe. The game starts, correct me if I'm wrong, Thursday. Is it 8 Eastern or 9 Eastern?
9 Eastern.
So it's 9. Okay, so I'm going to try to get them on Thursday to do another debate before the actual game starts, and we'll see if we can get them on then. Hopefully we can. Zion, cleared to return to the team. We already kind of know what the Pelicans look like prior to Zion even being on the team against the competition with Phoenix, pushing them to 6 games. Gonzo, Zion comes back, does a spring training. He says he's 100%. We saw him doing 360 dunks during the playoffs. How does with Zion coming in, will he develop that chemistry, and how does that propel New Orleans going into next season?
Oh man, it's hard to say because you don't know. We haven't seen a whole lot of Zion in the NBA.
That's true, we haven't.
But if Zion can play at the level that he was playing in college, and if that game transfers to the NBA and he can stay healthy, I think the Pelicans could be a scary team, especially if they keep McCollum. Because when they got McCollum, that really their team really turned around when you put McCollum and Ingram together. Ingram is starting to grow into a star. And if you add a guy that I think could be a big star in Zion, if Zion game can transfer to NBA, the Pelicans could be a tough team this year.
Right.
Logan, we haven't seen enough of Zion to know what kind of player he's going to be in the NBA.
Oh, I agree with 86 games. 86 games is all he's played. Yeah, that's not a whole lot of experience to really judge a guy by. How many years he's been in. You're right. It's not a lot. And so my question to you, based off of what Gonzo brought up, based on the 86 games that we know he's played so far in his career, which is not a whole hell of a lot, and based on his weight issues and every other thing that you could think of, Logan, my question for you is simply this. He's supposed to get the max extension of 5 years, $186 million this summer. According to Zion, he says he can't sign the extension fast enough. So it's a 2-part question for you, Logan. Number one, do the Pelicans give him the 186 at 5? And secondly, does he sign that extension?
It's looking like they're going to give it to him probably. I mean, he's got a lot of talent. Ain't no doubt about that. We all know what he can do, but it's risky. I mean, it's one of those that could easily, if not taken care of properly for himself, that could be a contract in 3 years or so that might come back to bite them.
Right. Now, I agree with you.
Throwing it out there.
I hate to say it.
And if you're Zion, I mean, I'm signing that thing right away. Ain't no way I'm waiting.
Oh, yeah.
Ain't no way.
I hate to say it. It could turn on. He could turn into like a Greg Oden if he keeps having injury trouble.
And that's my question. Hold on, Gonzo. So I was just about to give you the last question of this round. And the last question for you, Gonzo, is this. Based on his injury experience, how do you see him going forward in the future? Do you see this still being a plaguing issue, or will he finally get over the hump of injuries and start to develop an ongoing career healthy?
It's hard to say. I'm hoping that he stays healthy. I think he'll get in with the trainers and the physical trainers in the NBA and the people from the Pelicans. You would think that would be able to get him on some kind of nutrition plan, get him on a plan, get him on a workout plan to try to keep him healthier. If they can do that and he can stay healthy, he's definitely worth the extension. But like Logan said, you're taking a big risk because he hasn't stayed healthy. And look, they held him out of the playoffs this year when it looked like he could have maybe played.
It looked like he could have played at any point in that time.
They didn't want to put him back too soon and get him hurt. But you can wait and go back and get hurt. So it's just, I mean, you never know what's going to happen. I hope he don't turn into one of them players like Oden that just can't ever stay healthy, and we don't get to see him his max potential in the league.
Logan, I lied. I do have a last question. If you are the New Orleans Pelicans, you offering him that 186 at 5?
I would rather give him the contract than let him walk and be the guy we all thought he would be, and he could be. Because that would kill your whole franchise. I mean, we've seen that for many, many teams where they don't want to pony up the money, and their guy leaves, goes through our team, becomes all NBA, MVPs, all that. So, I mean, I'd give him the money, and if it works, great. If not, then, I mean, he's just going to be another long list of guys who got a big contract and just couldn't live up to it. But I'm voting for the best for him, though.
So, basically, Logan's theory is give him the 186, had your fingers crossed, and wrap that son of a bitch up in bubble wrap.
Yeah, you ain't wrong. I'm having him Uber.
Hey, no, I love it, Logan. Hey,
I'm having him chilling on the couch. I'm having people escorting him out the door, the whole 9 yards.
You get up to walk 3 people or go with you so you can catch you and fall.
Got pillows on them. Oh, yeah. No, nothing spared.
If the Nets don't extend Kyrie, should they trade KD? I got to be honest with you. I'm going to tell you right now. With the spotty availability and the COVID vaccine issues, I think leaves the Nets with no choice but to not extend Kyrie. Why would you extend somebody that's only a part-time person? Okay, there's 2 ways to look at it. I'm a reverse field. If you are okay with losing Durant and going into rebuild mode, which me personally, I'm going to be honest with you guys. Me personally, I got an injured Kevin Durant who's not 100%, who's not a leader of a team, who is a good shooter. Nobody can, Durant is great on the namesake, but he has a lot to lack everywhere else. Kyrie is a guy that shows up part-time but won't give you all the time. I'm okay with letting go of both of these sons of bitches, to be honest with you. I'm okay with letting go of them and starting over from fresh, build myself to the draft, and we'll see what's on the free agent market, and let's start our team all over again. Because these 2 guys and what they bring to the table is not worth the money or the expectation downfall that you're going to get at the end of the day. So in my opinion, yes, you don't extend Kyrie. You let KD and you trade him for draft picks, and then you live to fight another day. Because at the end of the day, these aren't the 2 guys that are against you, that are going to get you to the finals. They're not. And that's just my opinion on it. Rip the Band-Aid off. That's what I say. And get the draft picks. Gonzo.
If I'm the Nets, there's no way I'm giving Kyrie a long-term extension. Only way I'm keeping Kyrie is if I can get him to sign to a 1-year deal. Then I might keep him if he convinces me that he's committed to playing. But I'm not giving you a long-term deal, not knowing what your commitment level is. And with KD, to me, it all depends on what KD's attitude is if you get rid of Kyrie.
No. KD already said he signed with the Nets not for the money, not for the titles. He signed with the Nets specifically to play with Kyrie. He's already come out and said that.
Well, yeah, I'd let KD go then. I'm not signing Kyrie to a long-term extension. There's no way. Not the way the dude hasn't played more than 65 games in
That's what I said. So if you don't extend Kyrie, you're going to have to trade Kevin and get the best draft picks you can.
Yeah. No, I agree. That's what I would do. If only way I'm extending Kyrie is if he'll agree to a 1-year deal. And then maybe get an extension after that. If you show me that you can play a whole season and you're committed to basketball and not.
Yeah, I can see that. I don't even know if I'm opposed to that. I think on the 1 year, yeah, I can see that.
I'll do that, but I wouldn't sign him to a long-term deal. And if KD is going to cry and don't want to be there because of that, bye. We'll start rebuilding again. And
so Gonzo, so my secondary question to you, Gonzo, is he's not vaccinated. So you're losing him on the games you play against Toronto. I don't know how New York. Is he able to?
think
I guess he's able to
he's
play
good.
now in New York. Is that correct?
Yeah, New York lifted their ban, so or his
Okay,
ban,
so
he could
the
play.
only games he can't play in would be at Toronto, correct?
Right, which is I don't know how many.
Okay, so if you have given that 1 year extension, you know automatically you're not getting Toronto, but you're going to expect him for every game after Toronto, correct?
Yes,
I would hope so.
I mean, I would too, but this is Kyrie.
He
Just
don't
saying.
have the most healthiest bill of health.
It's not even that. He takes sabbaticals for no reason at all. He just leaves.
I mean, when you miss 20 games pretty often per season, whether it's for the COVID vaccine, for injuries, for rest, for a lot of reasons he's taken
because
off.
things that are going on in the world, and
Right, and I mean, I get people deal with stuff in different ways, but bro, you ain't played. I mean, I said on a previous show, but I mean, he hadn't played more than 70 games in what feels like 5+ years. And that's just 70.
Yeah, exactly. Well, I agree with that.
he hasn't played more than 65 games over the last 7 seasons.
That is incredible.
So Logan, what is your thought processes on Kyrie and KD? What should the Nets do?
It's a little tough because they ain't got a first-round pick this year. They traded that one with Harden. They got a few, though. It's not like they're completely washed when it comes to that. But if you don't extend Kyrie, then you're, I mean, granted, I mean, we said he ain't been there a lot, but I mean, he is a good player. He's a good factor. He's going to help you win games. Who else is on that team that's better than Kyrie?
But it's not true, though, Logan. If you let go of Kyrie,
right?
Obviously, watch this. You're going to have number one. As management, you're having a conversation with Durant first and foremost, because that's who you got in the contract. So you say, "Hey, Durant, we're going to let go of Kyrie because we don't think Kyrie is going to be that guy that's going to be here day in and day out, and we just can't trust him." What's your thought process? All right, if we let go of Kyrie, do you want out? And if Durant says yes, then you're going to trade Durant, and you will get a first-round draft pick, and depending on where that one is, could help you in the first round. Because KD will get you a first-round draft pick.
Oh,
and he'll get you some players as well.
Oh, yeah. I mean, I think just the Nets franchise is cursed, man. I mean,
oh, it is. It's been cursed forever.
When they traded for Pierce, Garnett, and all those guys about 10 years ago, I mean that helped propel the Celtics to get Tatum and get Brown and put them in the finals.
It did. It didn't do anything for the Nets.
No, not at all. It just made them like a second-round exit at most.
And
Irving
was on the Celtics not too long ago as well.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. You got a good point there. But going back to the Nets with Kyrie, I'm a Gonzo. I've said before, I would give him a 1 year deal at most, and I would give an incentive to, if you play X amount of games this season, you'll get a bonus, right? Because I mean, I ain't signing this guy. The most I would sign him for is 2 years, if we're being honest. I would not go more than that. I just don't trust it. Because Durant's getting older. He's in his mid-30s. He's going to be, I think, 36, 37. His contract's up in a couple of seasons.
Oh, yeah. So, Durant ain't getting any younger, especially off Achilles. He ain't getting younger.
Right. And, I mean, they're going to have to do something because the team around them ain't the best. I mean, they got swept in 4 when they should have not been swept at all. They're the only team so far to get swept. So if you extend Kyrie, you're gonna run this back for at least another year, possibly 2, and then we'll be back at this question again. But if you don't, then it's just Durant on the island of misfit toys. Honestly, I mean, this is a team who, in the beginning of the season, everyone had penciled in for the finals. I mean, they had Durant, Harden, and Kyrie. I mean, this should have been a team that should be where the Celtics are right now, but they're not.
Right.
But I think that if they get rid of Kyrie and they don't immediately trade KD, like if they let him play half the season, it's just not going to be inspiring basketball to watch.
I get you. And that's my thought process on the Nets.
Because Durant don't want to be on a losing team. He wants to be on a competing team. And if you get rid of Kyrie, your chances go down.
Exactly. How bad is it for Gonzo? How bad is it for Durant's legacy if his replacement is Mitchell Wiggins and they get the championship?
You mean Andrew Wiggins?
I'm sorry. I'm Rockets, and his daddy was Mitchell Wiggins, and his daddy played for the Rockets, so I'm still Mitchell Wiggins diehard. But I understand Andrew Wiggins, whatever. He knew what I was talking about, Logan. He don't need no help.
I got you.
I love you, Logan.
Actually,
but honestly, what's the question? I mean, look, how bad is it for his legacy if Andrew Wiggins gets the championship?
I really don't think that it affects Durant's legacy. Because
I think it does, though. Gonzo, you got to explain to me, how does it not affect his legacy? The fact that they got a championship without him means that he did not mean as much to their previous. It almost lightens the weight of his ring because he tried to go elsewhere and didn't do Bupkis.
Well, the reason I don't think it affects his legacy really is because the Warriors didn't get rid of him. He chose to leave.
I get that, but his replacement.
If the Warriors would have got rid of him and replaced him with Wiggins, then I would say yes. But the Warriors won a championship before Durant got there. Yes, they won when he got there, and now they're back in the finals without him. I don't think it really affects it. You can say it affects his legacy that much just because he won a championship when he was there.
Yeah, but when you got to but Gonzo.
Now you can get on.
You got to admit. You got to admit. Gonzo. Hold on, Gonzo. I want you to explain this to me because I'm trying to understand this, and I want you to explain it to me. If I take out Durant, insert Wiggins, and my situation stays the same, then it's like he did not really matter because the outcome was still the same. If you take out Durant, insert Wiggins, and they lose, then it doesn't, in my opinion, it doesn't affect his legacy. So what I'm trying to say is, if the Golden State Warriors against the Boston Celtics lose, then it doesn't affect his legacy because they needed Durant, because the outcome was changed. If they win without Durant, then I think it does affect his legacy because it's like, hey, bro, we appreciate you being here, but we didn't truly really need you for it because we won without you. And in fact, we went 2 years off, came back, and then won with. I think that does affect his legacy to a certain. I think it affects the validity of the weight of the ring in which he carries.
I see your point, but I think if you look at it, people already look at KD. They've already took the some of that ring away because they already say, "Oh, you had to leave OKC and go join the team that beat you to get a ring."
No, that's true. I agree. That's true. I agree with that.
Some of that shine had already been taken off of it, but I understand your point as well. Just to me, I think it says more about his business, that him as a businessman than anything. You made the choice to leave Steph Curry and Klay Thompson and Draymond Green to go play with Kyrie, and then look where you're at. So I think that, man, because I understand what you're saying. His decision.
No, I got you. Matter of fact, I'm gonna put this in a 2-part question, an extra question, and maybe this will help you be able to clarify a little bit, maybe a little bit more. And we got Rob coming in. He's that motherfucker late as shit. But I swear to God, Rob. You know what, Rob?
I already know Rob.
Hold on. We talked about this. For those of you who don't know, Rob, I don't call him 2 cents, but that's what his podcast is, so I have to say that. Rob, 2 cents. If you want to find Rob, you got to Rob 2 cents. Okay.
Yes, Lord.
Now that the technical part is, I call him Rob $25 because this motherfucking predictions are on point.
I appreciate that, my brother. How y'all feeling?
Hey, no, Rob. I'm just giving you your due deserts, what you earned. Okay, so I'm not hyping you up. I'm just giving you what you already earned.
Appreciate that, brethren.
And I'm going to come back to you. But hold on, because this is a 3-part question. Rob, you're a little bit late, but don't worry. We're going to talk about your Warriors because you're here. Your counterpart, who I wanted you to debate with, ain't here, which kind of pisses me off. But that's okay. Rob, but I need you back here on Thursday, and I'm going to talk to Rayleigh, Pride. Well, we call him Pride. I'm going to talk to Pride too. But I need you guys here on Thursday. Before the actual game 1 goes down, I need you guys debating before the game goes down, so that way you can get everything you got to get out before it goes down, so that way we can get the real. Can we get that working?
Yeah, I got you. All right,
My bad.
I got notified late, audience. So by the time I'm looking at it, I was like, "Oh Lord."
But it's going to be 7 o'clock Thursday. I'm going to talk to Pride about it, but 7 o'clock Thursday, and you two motherfuckers are going to go at it, and I want to see Celtics versus Dub Nation. Part 1. But my question for Gonzo, and I'm going to work it all the way down to Rob, is, when you look at the Celtics, or let's just look at Durant. Let's just break down Durant as a whole. Take away the one championship that he got with Golden State. And that was, in my opinion, and Rob, you made different, and everybody made different. I want you to address this in your conversation, okay? So start thinking about what I'm saying now and think about how you're going to address it when you speak, because I want you to speak on everything I'm saying.
All right.
My opinion of Kevin Durant is, and look, Kevin Durant is a University of Texas product, so I love Kevin automatically because he's from Texas. But at the same time, when I look at his legacy, I think we all understand that KD is not a leader. He was not a leader in Oklahoma City. He was not a leader in Golden State. He was not a leader at Brooklyn. He just so happened to get a ring on a team that had experience, that had coaching. He just so happened to land in a spot where everything was perfect for him, and he got his ring. And the validity, or I guess I should say the weight of his ring rests on this specific series. And I've already said to Gonzo, and I've already said to Logan, and Rob, I'm putting it to you, and we're going to go top to bottom from Gonzo all the way down. One final take on this series, and we're going to move on to the next one. My take is that if he goes to Brooklyn and does nothing but disastrousness, gets traded for draft picks, doesn't win at Oklahoma City, and then Mitchell Wiggins comes in and takes over for him, Death Squad Part 2, off the 2-year delay of Golden State, and they walk away with the ring afterwards, my take is that diminishes Kevin Durant's legitimacy to a title holder. Now, yes, he has a ring because he was on the team. Yes, he did, put up points, but at the same time, they won before him. If they win without him, does that hurt his legacy? And I know Gonzo's point, but I'm going to give Gonzo ample time to address everything I said, and we're going to work our way down. Gonzo, the floor is yours.
Yeah, I don't think it affects his legacy, and I'm gonna go a different direction in this. When Shaq left the Lakers, Kobe won a ring without Shaq. Nobody was saying that it affected Shaq's legacy. So why would we do that with KD? Like I said, he went there, he got his 2 rings. He made a stupid decision to leave. Now, if the Warriors would have got rid of him, then I would maybe say it would affect his legacy. But since he chose to leave to go with Kyrie and play, I just don't think it really affects his legacy that much because the Warriors had won without him. So we knew the Warriors was already a great team before he ever got there. He just made them better. And then after and then with him leaving and then winning another one, to me, it don't affect his legacy. We haven't done that with other players, like with Shaq, for example. And I'm sure if we think about it, there's other players that have left places and that team has went on to win the championship, and we've never really held that against them.
I will say this: the one thing you're missing, and what makes it different, is Shaq won a championship with the Miami Heat.
Yeah.
So he did go. What I'm saying is he did go on to win a championship. And that's what I'm saying. If KD went to Brooklyn and won a championship with Brooklyn, okay. His legacy, in my opinion, is justified. Now, I'm going to tell you right now, KD is going to be in my top. He's still a great – I'm not trying to diminish him as a player, but his legacy, it takes a big hit. His ring, more specifically, Logan, when you come out this, I'm really kind of addressing the legitimacy of his ring. Him, not the team, not Golden State, but just his contribution to the ring. Is it a little bit lighter or a little bit heavier if Mitchell Wiggins comes away with the ring?
I think that, like I said, when you look at it, he got that ring in Golden State. He got two of them actually back-to-back years.
Finals MVP both years as well.
Exactly. I don't think it's going to diminish it a lot. I think personally it's going to hurt him. Just the fact that he chose to leave this team. He went to the Brooklyn Nets, who were supposed to be in this position, potentially against the Warriors. It didn't work. So I don't think it's going to diminish what he did. But I think that for him, for his personal sake, it's going to stink. Because like Chris said, he made that choice to leave.
Right.
He didn't have to leave. He could have stayed. He could have been there today.
Right.
But
and probably they probably would have already won another championship.
Exactly. But he wanted to go and be his own man, be the number one on the Nets, and he got it. But so far, they ain't got nothing shown for it.
So based on what Chris has said, and based on what Logan has said, obviously Rob is Dub Nation. I'm going to give him last because I want to give Rob the max amount of time to compliment or comment on his team, part two, because we know Chicago's number one. I think Dub Nation is number two for Rob. I'm not going to go Freddie on Rob. I'm not going to do that to him. But before Rob comes on and gives his analytical aspirations of his team and where they go from here, I want to say this about KD. In my opinion, had KD won MVP, Finals MVP for Golden State, then I could give him credit. I could give him weight. I could give him all the metrics that comes with that. But the fact that he did not win the MVP of the Finals,
he won it 2 years.
Jay, he won it twice.
He won it twice. Am I wrong?
He won it in 17 and 18.
Yeah, he was the Finals MVP.
Yeah, he was Finals MVP all the times. I ain't gonna say all the times because, of course, against Toronto they lost.
Right.
But that's because he got injured.
In my mind, I had Steph Curry with the MVP. But
no, Steph
Curry's
didn't.
MVP.
No, Steph Curry never won the Finals MVP.
Damn, that takes away all of the air in my argument then against KD.
Yeah, KD hit the same type of shot in Game 3.
Go ahead, Rob. I'm sorry. Go ahead, Rob.
I was saying KD hit the same type of shot in both Game 3s, actually.
Yep.
And which he hit LeBron in the face. But to that argument though, to me personally, I think the second one that they won with KD, Steph should have been Finals MVP. Because to me, he had Game 1, Game 2, and Game 4 that Steph had very strong games because they swept Cleveland in that second go around. Remember, J.R. Smith forgot to, LeBron had a great Game 1, scored 51 points in overtime. They lost, and after that, their heart was just taken out of it. So they got swept. KD got Finals MVP, but to me, Steph should have got that Finals MVP. Like that Game 1, especially Game 4. Steph got hot. He's getting 4-point plays. He's to me, KD really only had a great Game 3. That's just my opinion.
Steph should have got the year that Iguodala got it as well.
Definitely should have got Finals MVP then as well.
So in your opinion, Rob, and God dang it, man, I can't believe I missed that mistake. I should have done better research on that. But anyway, Rob, KD going to Brooklyn, Mitch Wiggins coming in his spot. I gotta be honest with you. I'm gonna take away what I just said. I've got to because if KD got the MVP, then I've got to be honest and I got to be a real man and take back my mistakes. And I've got to say that does put weight on his ring. So I'm going to take back what I said. I'm going to say KD's ring is legitimate because he did get the MVP. So yeah, KD, your ring has weight. And Rob, I'm going to assume that you agree with that because of the fact that he did get at least one out of the 2 MVPs, right?
Yes, he got both of them. But
yeah. So I hate when I'm wrong. But yeah, go ahead, Rob.
You know what though? But you can go either or because we still talking about a team that was 73-9 before KD got there. We're still talking about a team that just had beat his Oklahoma City Thunder, came back from a 3-1 lead. This is the team you go to. They were already champions without you. You go to them, they just become juggernauts in the NBA where, you really didn't know who you really knew that they were going to win all the way. So to me personally, if they're able to win again without him, it kind of I won't say diminish his legacy because it is what it is. The man is one of the most prolific scorers ever in the NBA, but it just makes Golden State look stronger.
No, I agree. I agree with what you're saying.
It almost makes it seem like, and I got this take from, I don't want to take anybody's takes. I got this take from Chris Broussard and Nick Wright on First Things First, and they made a point. It almost seems like you could have took if Golden State wins this ring, it feels like you could have took any player that's considered a superstar and put them in that slot, and they still would have won.
No,
so it doesn't make KD look worse. It just makes Golden State look better.
Yeah, man, I agree. I mean, again, I think. And like me and Gonzo and I know Logan was talking about the experience of Golden State is just so much more than what the Celtics are ready for.
Yeah. Yeah, and you know what? And we were talking about this on the Afternoon Blitz, me and Gonzo and Greg, and we were discussing that the Boston Celtics can't have those times where they can't score the ball. Or those times where they make those stupid, mistakes, turnovers, or, lazy passes, or Marcus Smart trying to do too much. If they're going to have to play 4 almost perfect games.
Right. No,
Golden State is not the team you want to make a mistake against. And what this is for right now.
Boston is capable, based on what their performance looked like against Miami, they're not ready for Golden State, just like Dallas wasn't ready for Golden State. And again, the switch heavy. But I will say this on Boston's behalf, and I'm going to get your take on this, is how does Golden State handle the switch heavy defense that Boston brings to the table? Because again, since 1996, Chicago Bulls and Seattle Supersonics, we have not seen the top 2 defenses go at it in the finals, and we have that this year. And Golden State didn't see a switch-heavy defense until the latter half of this series with Dallas, and they kind of struggled a little bit on that. Marcus Smart is your defensive player of the year. Again, Golden State has the experience. Boston is bringing something to the table that's a little bit different than what they've seen when they switch heavy defense. How are they going to respond?
Well, first of all, what you're going to have to do is keep the motion offense going. I think sometimes switching too much can be a detriment to you because now you're asking Al Horford to stick with Jordan Poole, or you're asking a Robert Williams to stick with Steph Curry, and you're putting those guys out there on the island. As we all agreed to earlier on Afternoon Blitz, Wiggins is going to be the X factor. Can Wiggins make Jason Tatum work on the defensive end of the ball? Because
that was actually Gonzo's X factor, I believe, was Wiggins. Am I correct, Gonzo?
Yeah.
Yeah, because we all agreed on that earlier. Wiggins is going to be the X factor because it's going to be what defense can he play on Jason Tatum, who we all feel is Boston's best scorer. Because I feel sometimes you can win a game if Jaylen Brown leads them in scoring. It's hard when Tatum get hot because when Tatum gets hot, he gets everybody else involved. Jaylen Brown is more of a selfish scorer to me.
No, you're not going on the wrong path. You're right.
He's more that ball dominant ISO guy.
Yeah, and Tatum can hurt you in many ways because he can hurt you from the post, he can hurt you in transition, he can hurt you from beyond the 3-point line. So and Tatum is actually a pretty good passer of the ball. He can get other people involved, and if you're focusing on him, he's shown he doesn't mind being reluctant in passing the ball. I think Wiggins is going to have to make Tatum work. If you can take Tatum out of the game on the defensive side of the ball, which is going to hinder his offense, Jaylen Brown is going to have a tall task of trying to chase around Klay. And I know people say Marcus Smart, defensive player of the year.
I don't know, though, man. I don't know about the whole Klay thing because, you know what, maybe the second half, but Klay in the first half hasn't demonstrated. Klay don't get hot until about the second half. So
I get what you're saying, but we just saw closeout K, right? Right. We just saw this same player that you questioning. He just went 8 of 14 in a closeout game from the 3-point line.
Okay, that's closeout. I got you. That's closeout, and that's my point. If I'm Boston, I'm keeping that pressure on him the whole time. Now, can they do it? I don't know. But here's the deal, folks. Hold on. Hold on now. Here's a cliffhanger. Because I got to put a cliffhanger in there to keep the interest before we go on to McDaniels on Kaepernick tryout. Hold on a minute now. Listen, we got a lot of basketball to talk about. A lot. And I'm going to keep everybody's interest peaked because I want to know what Rob's got just stored up in him. Gonzo and Pride. If I get Pride on the show, well, it's going to be even better. Woo! Is it going to be better? Because it's going to be hot, folks. Because listen, we will be on here Thursday at 7 p.m. Eastern. The game don't go down to 9. So how much more stuff can we talk about before we go down? Matter of fact, we're going to make a special episode. It's going to be a special episode of nothing but Lakers and Golden State's hypothetical debating before it goes down at 9. And I'm going to get Pride on here.
The other extra factor is going to be who Jay was talking about. I think is Gary Payton II because of his defense.
Exactly.
I think he could be
Don't
the
worry.
other X factor.
Don't worry. We're going to talk about Gary Payton.
Wiggins.
Hey, we're talking about Wiggins. We're talking about Katie's. I want it all out there. I want everything naked. We're all going to be, listen, we're going to be running butt naked with Coronas
Can we talk
in
about
our hands prior to the game.
The Reds are like watching a Little League baseball team because I'm about ready to throw my remote through this television. They do stuff to my 12-year-old Little League team I used to coach there.
We're going to go on to McDaniels now. Again, hey, listen, folks, this is only part 1. Part 2, the finale will come down game 1, 7 p.m. Eastern time on Thursday. And Rob Scott will be with us. I'm hoping to get Pride. I will get confirmation on that. And we're going to get a really nice, heavy debate between Golden State fans and Rob Scott and,
yes, Lord.
and Boston Celtics fans and Pride. And we're going to get the two big fans dueling it out prior to game time. So I wanted to put that out there, and we'll go on out with Thursday. In terms of McDaniels on Kaepernick tryout, like I said, Rob, hey, it was a positive workout. We know that. We know deal was imminent. I know Logan has said that, and I believe that. You always get a deal right off the bat, but maybe it comes down to a week or two later, whatever. They did say what the Raiders said was his arm conditioning, his arm strength was really, really good. The Raiders offensive coordinator, Mick Lombardi, was with the 49ers when Cap played there. So there are guys that are familiar with Cap at the offensive coordinator level with the Raiders that saw his workout, that believe that his arm is in good strength, that his conditioning is where it needs to be. They've already talked to Derek Carr and said, hey, look, your job's not in jeopardy. Kaepernick has said that he's okay with the backup positioning role. He's okay with that, to start. You get Cap at a very vet minimum. Rob, why have the Raiders not given Cap an invite to training camp?
I think, they worked him out, and maybe they just didn't see anything to make them, push more for him. to be on the team. Also, you got to remember, even though it's been 4 or 5 years, Cap might not be taking the first opportunity himself. He might want to hear more teams out to see if he's going to get more tryout, see if he can earn more money.
No, Rob, I'm going to stop you right there.
I'm just saying.
Hey, look, I love this dude. He's been out the league 6 damn years. Rob, you've been going through the desert looking for an oasis to drink out of for 6 years. You don't think you hopping on that shit?
Not necessarily, because it's not like he's hurting for money.
I'm gonna tell you, look how much money he's making doing
He's
this.
made money from the endorsements with Nike. Yeah, but you also, if you've been out of the league for 6 years, I want to play. And if I know Derek Carr is there, you know, McDaniels made that clear. Derek Carr is their quarterback.
Exactly.
And I want to put this caveat on it. Rightfully so. Derek Carr has proven that he can lead the Las Vegas Raiders. You know, he got them to the playoffs, even though he didn't have a great playoff showing. They are a playoff team now, and the AFC
we're not questioning Derek Carr. We're
right,
questioning Kaepernick's ability.
But that's the reason you're not questioning Derek Carr. There's nothing there for Kaepernick. There's nothing there.
But Kaepernick said he's already okay with being a backup. He just wants to get back in the league. And there's not a whole lot in starting spots out there for a guy who's been gone for 6 years. So maybe you start out as a backup and you work your way up. I don't know. But I mean,
there's better opportunities for him out there. You got Carolina, you got Seattle, you got the Jets. You got teams out there that can use a quarterback.
Not the Jets, not with Zach Wilson. I don't think they believe that Zach Wilson is.
I wouldn't mind having Kaepernick there. I wouldn't mind having Kaepernick there as a backup to him. It's hell. We can even go this far and say the 49ers. They're not going to use Trey Lance.
I get you, but Rob, again. No, I get it, Rob. Trust me, Rob. I know where you're going with that because I'm right there with you. I've already come out publicly and said that Pittsburgh was my destination of landing because I know for a goddamn fact he's better than Mason freaking Rudolph as a backup. And
Trubisky. He's better than Trubisky to me.
That's my point, Rob. You just made my point. He can challenge Trubisky for the starting role and get the starting job at Pittsburgh. But here's the problem, Rob. They're not offering him an opportunity.
They just drafted that Pittsburgh quarterback.
Even still, watch this. Nobody outside of even Pittsburgh, nobody is offering him the opportunity. And here's my problem, Rob. Here's the problem I have. The problem I have is I know goddamn good and well Kaepernick is better than possibly a few of the starters in this league.
Yeah, and without a doubt.
And better than the backups that are behind the starters in this league. And I'm telling you, the son of a gun is getting blackballed, and that's bullshit.
He's getting blackballed, but I'm not gonna put that on the Raiders though.
Rob, I'm gonna speak on the other side of my face now, and because this is what I want you to hear the full extent of it before you give your response. Because here's the devil's advocate. The devil's advocate is on Colin Kaepernick is this, and I know Gonzo knows this, and Logan is. We talked about this. Why has he not gone out for XFL, USFL, whatever other medium is out there to showcase his talents? To basically say, hey, NFL, look what I do in game time situations. You're not giving me a shot. What the hell is your problem?
Well, I think, first of all, to answer that question, he has a goal. His goal is to get back in the NFL. It's not to get in the XFL. It's not to get in the USFL. It's to get in the NFL. So those two things are mute points to him. He doesn't care about the XFL. If he wanted to play in the XFL, I'm pretty sure he could. Remember, The Rock is a partner in that.
What I want you to answer is this: him sitting on the sidelines for 6 years, not doing anything, isn't helping his cause out either. I agree. Maybe he feels like he's on this pedestal, but sometimes you go to the other levels to show that game time experience. Because let me be honest with you, I could go do a Raiders workout for you, no problem. I can throw a ball, I can run, I can do the steps, blase. But if you see me in real-time game action, is that not a better interview than a Raiders workout?
It is, but nobody else has to go through that.
Nobody. You're right, but that's not necessarily
And that's
true.
his
There's
argument.
other people that have gone
But
route.
he, if you really look at it, what he did is what got him out of the league. He didn't. It wasn't his
That's
play
true.
on the
I'll give
field.
it to you know why? No,
It wasn't his play on the field. It wasn't
exactly.
It was what he did. So in his mind, and I can't, guys, this is just assumption. I can't really speak for Colin Kaepernick, but in his mind, it's like, well, I'm showing you I can still play. I'm showing you that I still have a love for this game. I'm willing to work out for whoever and whatever team. But my thing is just give me a chance. So he's done his part where he can actually go to sleep at night saying, hey, I went to the workouts. I performed at the best of my ability. I'm going to leave it up to the NFL owners to see if they want me to play for their teams. But other than that,
that's
he's
not
not
necessarily true, though. That's not necessarily true.
They had
a workout set up for him, and he didn't attend that workout. Then he went and did his own personal workout. So it's not necessarily that he's exactly 100% cooperative because it's been dictated on his terms on how the workout was going to go. Because the first workout was on a whole different level, and then he didn't go to that level. He went to his own other level, and then maybe a few of them showed up, but not everybody showed up.
That's true, but he also felt like he was about to get ambushed.
I don't know that until you do it. If you
don't know, but when you understand the nobody can tell us more about the politics of the National Football League more than he could.
No, I get it, and that's my point.
So we're on the outside looking. We're on the outside looking in, and I get where you're coming from. You're like, okay, they set up a workout for you. All you have to do is show up and do your thing. But what's the point of me wasting my time if I'm not going to get a fair shot anyway?
What I feel like is if he would have done that workout, then he's like, look, I did what you did, and you still blackballed me anyway. It's kind of like when you don't conform, or not conform. I don't want to use the word conform, but when you don't go to a workout that's set up for you, it's kind of like you're taking away you're giving them the excuse. That's the word I want to use. You're giving the NFL excuses for why you shouldn't be there when you didn't go to their workout. That's my point. I want to eliminate the excuses and put the sole effort on his basic, professional knowledge, and then let that be the deciding factor. But again, I want to say this. I've said this before. Colin Kaepernick is, because I get your point too, Rob. I get it. God damn, this sucks because this guy is better. If I'm an NFL owner, I know Colin Kaepernick.
Get down.
What I got on my damn team. So it's kind of like I hate political shit too, Rob. I hate political shit, man. I really do, bro.
I think he'll eventually get a chance as a backup. But
you think so?
I think he will. I think he'll get more workouts out of this.
Who? Nobody's calling on him.
Nobody's calling on him yet, but you still got to remember, nobody's calling on Baker Mayfield right now either.
Well, that's because he's still with his team, though, too.
No, but he's also with a team that they know.
You're right. I don't want to say you're not right. I mean,
they have a starter in Deshaun Watson. I don't care what you just said. They got a starter in Deshaun Watson, and literally all Cleveland is doing is making sure that man can play.
No, what they're doing is persevering. Watch this. Okay, we're gonna keep Baker until we know for sure.
Until we know that he can play. If they get the okay that Deshaun can play, Baker's out of there.
Yep.
Yeah, Baker's gone.
They're just waiting to see what the suspension is going to be, if he's getting suspended or not, how many games.
And what these teams want to know is, are you going to pay Baker? Because we're not going to pay him.
I think
we're going to pay Baker what we want to pay him. Are you going to pay out the rest of his contract so now we can begin real contract negotiations?
And I'm telling you, I wouldn't put it past this, that we see Kaepernick in the XFL this season in February, now that The Rock is part of it. And you got to remember, they have a partnership with the NFL. So you could, if he don't get a backup job, he might go play with The Rock in the XFL. And I think if he does that, then he'll have a better chance of getting a starting job, because if he goes out there and balls, then one of these teams are going to have to pick him up and maybe even give him
that's the hope. That's the hope and the theory behind it.
And
that's
that'll
what
be a
I'm saying
blessing in
before.
disguise.
I feel like when Colin Kaepernick gives the NFL no reason to make up an excuse, then it really puts the NFL on their heels to make the change. And that's what I was trying to say to you earlier, Rob. My issue was that go to the NFL workout, do whatever it is they say, because you know what? Ball out for them. Do what you do. Show your skill sets, because then you put the NFL on their heels as to why you're not in the freaking damn league. But again, we'll see. I really hope that Colin makes it back, because I am a firm believer. I have fought for this country. I have fought for the rights of freedom, and I don't always agree, with the way people use their freedom. But I am not the judge and the executioner of how you use your freedom. That's the whole point of freedom. Do with it what the fuck it is you will. Because at the end of the day, that's what life is, freedom. So, I don't have a problem with it. I have no issues with it whatsoever. You want to take a kneel at the national anthem, if you're doing it peacefully and not killing nobody, boo, do you. Do you. And then go out there and ball. I don't care. Because it's freedom. We're not communistic. I don't want nobody telling me what I can and cannot do. So why am I going to tell Colin what he can and cannot do? That's bullshit.
And just a last point today might be a blessing in disguise, because think of how many eyes are going to watch the XFL to see if he still got it.
Oh,
you know what I'm saying? Damn, coach.
So,
all right, folks, we're going to lighten the mood up a little bit. Again, hey, Colin, I wish you much, much success. I really hope, you can turn this around and get back into the NFL, because, hey, let's not bullshit ourselves. Last time I checked, Colin Kaepernick's ass was in the Super Bowl, and Dak Prescott was on the motherfucking sidelines.
Hey, he beat Green Bay twice.
I'm just saying.
Hey, as a Chicago Bears fan, I have no problem saying when the Packers lose.
You know what I'm saying? Lamar, absence from OTAs. Okay, guys, look, Lamar's got issues. Yes, he was the NFL MVP, and I'm not trying to take that away from him. But Lamar, as we all know, is a one-sided quarterback. He has not really truly, in my opinion, proved the second side of being a quarterback. Yes, he's elusive. Yes, he can run for a shit ton of yards. But the passing side of it, the route, reading side of it, the defensive reading side of it, the audible calling side of being a quarterback, that's the part that I'm missing out on with him. When criticized about not being there at the voluntary workouts, his response was, he said at the voluntary workout that, I can't read my own handwriting.
I have that same problem sometimes.
I hate when I can't read my
I have that problem all the time. You know what? As bad as I write, my mom used to tell me, you write like a doctor. And you ever notice how your doctor signs your prescription paperwork?
You can't read nothing the doctor writes.
You can't read nothing.
Why can't I read my fucking handwriting? I didn't. You know what? And the sad part about it is my wife is an elementary school teacher. She teaches handwriting, and I got the shittiest handwriting in the world. Look, Lamar is not at the OTA. You take what you will from it. Lamar not at the OTAs. I'm just gonna say this. I don't care what Lamar's thinking. I really don't. His action, because you know what? Words don't mean. Like my wife always tells me. Watch this. Your words don't mean nothing. Your actions mean everything. And if you really want your team to go to the Super Bowl, you won't be there at every inch of it. Every inch. OTAs, mini camps, training camps, preseason, first game. I mean, you're there for everything. You're building the relation. Not even OTAs. Hey, you're taking your receivers. Especially, you watch this, you got a new crop of receivers. You don't even, outside of Mark Andrews, you don't even have the same receivers as last year. And you're going to rely on your running abilities? You're not going to try to develop a relationship with the receivers that are inbound? You're not taking them out to, whatever high school or college, whatever it is, and you're not going to practice with them, get them on your page, get them doing what you want them to do, blase, so this season can be successful, and you can show that you really are the NFL MVP. I mean, these are things that I'm worried about because, look, at the end of the day,
Lamar Jackson has thrown a temper tantrum.
Hold on. All the positions outside of quarterback, they are what they are. But your quarterback is your leader. He's your guy you look to. He's your, quote unquote, and I don't want to sound non-biblical, but he's your Jesus. He's the guy you go to for the answers. He's the guy you go to for, hey, how do you want to? He's your guy that gets you to the Super Bowl. If you don't have the look, okay, take Miami for example. Miami got every position on the earth covered. Trust me. Wide receiver blanketed, running back blanketed, offensive line, defensive line blanketed. But what they lack is a field general. I don't give a damn who you put on Miami. If you think you run that damn offense through Tua and you go into the Super Bowl, you might as well shut the fuck up, take your ride to Cancun, and enjoy a nice day. I'm just saying. Then you look at, Lamar Jackson. Hey, Lamar, you're a hell of a gifted guy. But if you don't spend the time with your receivers, how are you going to take this team to the next level? And you don't think OTAs are important? Every minute of every hour of every day is important if you want to get to the Super Bowl. That's my opinion. Gonzo, and then I want Rob Scott to wrap it up on Lamar's absent from OTAs. Gonzo.
Oh, man. I kind of agree with what Rob said. He's kind of throwing a temper tantrum. I mean, you have to, if you want to get good with your receivers, like you said, you have to be there. In a quarterback supposed to be the leader of your team. If he's not at the OTAs, how can you expect the other guys to be there when the quarterback's supposed to basically be the leader, supposed to be kind of like your glue of the team. And when you're not your quarterback and the organization aren't on the same page, that's going to make for a long season if they don't get it figured out here pretty quick.
Rob,
I agree. Like I just mentioned, he's throwing a temper tantrum. He's mad they lost Hollywood Brown. I don't believe he feels Baltimore has put him in a position to be a better quarterback, but you're asking him to be a better quarterback. But he feels like, well, I have no weapons to throw to other than Mark Andrews. So how is that going to happen? So he's throwing a temper tantrum now. I think he's trying to put some pressure on that Ravens front office to make some last-minute moves, I guess, before the season starts. I don't really know what more they can do right now at the moment. Lamar is just going to have to make some miracles happen again and hope for the best next season. But these are things you got to think about, ladies and gentlemen, before you sign these extensions and sign things like that. What's in it for me? Not just what's in it for me financially. What's in it for me for my career? Are you going to set me up for success? I'm the star on this franchise. Are you going to get me some help? Because hey, Rome wasn't built in a day.
Let me put this in perspective. The issue that I have with Lamar's situation, and it's not just Lamar. Lamar's just the topic of the moment. It's every quarterback. It's every NFL player. It's every NBA player. It's every MLB player. It's all players that make so much money that I cannot possibly even fathom. For the average ordinary person, $1 million is extravagantly crazy, and we can base our whole life on $1 million. 1 million. You give me 1 million, I promise you, I'll quit my job. I'll invest my money with Charles Schwab. I'll buy a moderately priced house. I'll buy a Prius, and you'll never hear from me, and I'll fade off the grid, and I'll be okay. 1 million, and I'm living life beautifully. Okay, 1 million. Okay, just take that.
We all feel like that, man. Give me $1 million, you put me in the game, coach.
Hey! I'm just saying, but I want you to ride this roller coaster with me for 1 minute. Just ride this roller coaster with me for 1 minute.
We're gonna do any
Last season, hold on. Last season, hold on, just hold on. Now, damn, Kevin, I haven't put the seatbelts on, sons of bitches. Hold on. Listen, last season, Lamar threw 13 interceptions and was sacked 38 times. That means he had no chemistry with his wide receivers, and he had no route 1, route 2. I don't even know if he did an audible. I mean, there's so many things that went wrong to be sacked 38 times on a Baltimore run offense. I'm just saying it's a little excessive. Here's my point of view. This is the way I look at it. If you're not willing, if you want a big-time contract, and look, Lamar's up for a big-time contract, and you want me to give you hundreds of millions of dollars, and you don't want to devote time to the cause, not just yourself, but the cause being the team. You don't want to devote your time to the team to develop chemistry, to develop all the things it takes to win a Super Bowl, to do the things that you're paid very extremely well to do. Pisses me off. To the point where I hope he fails miserably and breaks his collarbone at 10 places. Because I'm going to tell you why. I got teachers.
That's a little harsh, Jay.
Hold on. I got teachers, first grade, second grade, third grade, fourth grade, fifth grade, all the way up to senior in high school, who devote endless amounts of time. When I say endless, I mean endless amounts of time to the development of their children. I know this because my wife is a first grade teacher. My wife spends her whole life on the phone talking with parents, trying to develop their children to be the best that they can be. Who cries? My wife cries when her children are failing and their parents don't care. My wife cries. My wife makes less than $2,000 a month. And she cries and devotes her whole life to children and their education and cares more about them than they do themselves, and cries and makes less than $2,000 a month and devotes 6 out of 7 days a week to her job. So that means my wife gets 1 day off. You know how I know that? Because on the 6th day, I'm in the classroom with my wife, getting the lesson plans, getting the worksheets, cleaning the desks off so they're hyperallergenically clean for COVID, sharpening the pencils, doing all the things it takes to make these children successful on a Saturday that she's not getting paid for. But she's in there working her ass to the bone because she cares that much about her students. Making less than $2,000 a month.
Oh yeah, teachers are
Hold on.
underappreciated.
And I can't get Lamar Odom to put that same passion. And that's not just Lamar. It's everybody. It's
Lamar Jackson. I got you, my boy.
Hey, look, I think I said Odom, but I meant Jackson. Lamar Odom, hey, please don't sue me. I didn't mean that. But what I'm saying is, guys, listen. We got people out there for less money working their asses to the bone for a craft that they care, something they care passionately about. And these athletes who get paid all this money and don't care as nearly as much, all they care about is the fame and the fortune, but they don't care about the craft in which they're developing. And that's my problem. I don't have a problem with paying Lamar Odom $200 million. I don't have a problem paying Lamar Odom $300 million damn dollars. But if I'm paying that much money, I better see Lamar Odom in the offseason working with his quarterbacks, his wide receivers. I better, I want the passion and I want everything but it's not going to happen that way because capitalism and the American dream doesn't work that way. I get that, but it irritates me at the same time. And I'm going to rest my case. Gonzo, I'm going to go to you, and then we're going to wrap it up with Rob Scott. I apologize. My brain is so scattered.
Yeah, I just like I said, with Lamar Jackson, I think a lot of it he's throwing a tantrum. I think they'll get it settled out. The big thing I think the Ravens need to do. Everybody talks about the receiving core. I don't think it's as much as the receiving core.
Yeah.
As Lamar's throwing ability is just not up to par yet. But for two, if you look, ever since they lost their running back, they've not been the same team. That their running game with Lamar doesn't work the same when they don't have that top running back there. So I think that hurts them a lot. But
yeah, absolutely.
Because teachers are the most underpaid and most underappreciated job in our country.
I use that as an example, but it's an example of Lamar. I know you want a big contract, but damn, bro.
It's a great example because teachers are, to me, is the most important job. They're the ones that we trust to teach our youth the future of our country, and they're the most underpaid and underappreciated people that there is. That I've always fought. I got friends that are teachers. My sister.
And so you know what I'm talking about. So if you have friends that are teachers, you know that these teachers, the amount of time that they put in because their salary, that's the downside of being a teacher. The downside of being a teacher is you're a salaried person, not an hourly person. So that means your hours don't really matter a whole. Yep. That means you're basically I hate to say it, but you're a slave to the community.
Well, I know how it is. Like, hey, I coached high school wrestling for 10 years.
Yeah.
The season would start in November, the high school season.
Right.
The high school season ends in February, but that's not counting all the stuff you do with your youth program to build up your high school program.
Oh, I totally agree with you.
How much you think high school wrestling coach got paid?
I bet you. Okay, if I had to guesstimate, I'm going to say, based on what a teacher with first year experience gets paid, I'm going to go with that as my number. So I'm going to say $42,000.
Oh no! From November to February, I made $2,000.
Okay. So I don't know how the sports side of it works. I don't know if you're a salary or a game.
November to February, $2,000, and basically your coach. If you're a coach, you're coaching all year because you have to build up your youth program and everything. But $2,000 is what they pay. Like I said, teachers and anything to do with youth is severely underpaid in our country, and teachers are severely underappreciated.
But and to put it in perspective, look, guys, I'm not trying to say that an NFL guy compares to a teacher because I understand the physicality.
Yeah.
No, what I'm saying is I understand, what you put your body through and things like that. I don't want to take away from that. What I'm trying to say, the point I'm trying to make is if a teacher devotes that much time on that little pay for her craft, why are you not putting in that same level of commitment to your craft to what they're paying you? That's the problem I have.
Yeah, what you're saying,
but I don't think you can go that route.
Hold on, Gonzo, hold on, Rob, please enlighten me.
I don't think you can go that route because sometimes the players' temper tantrums are warranted. Just because I'm making all this money doesn't give you the right to say that I can play this game balls to the wall because you want me to, and they're not giving me anything to play with. If I'm LeBron James, look at me I gave you 7 years of my life in Cleveland, 8 years of my life in Cleveland.
But let's
now I say something.
Hold on, before you make that argument, because I understand where you're trying to go with that. Believe me, I'm on the same. But I want you to address a specific area. We're not talking about that. I want you to address specifically an athlete like Lamar Odom. I'm not Lamar Odom. God, why am I saying Odom? Lamar Jackson. Take Lamar Jackson. He's in a contract year. He's trying to get the quad. He's trying to get the big dollar. Why am I going to give it to you when you're skipping OTAs and we got a new receiving core that you have nothing to do with? That's the situation specifically I want you to address when we're giving a big dollar contract.
Well, my thing is, how are you going to give me the big dollars if you don't give me the tools I need to get these big dollars? Now you're wasting my time. You just want your product out there on the field. I want to win. I have legacy on the line here. So my thing
you
is,
always got Mark Andrews, but we don't know what he has in his receivers.
and that's
he
the
hasn't worked out
problem.
with
We
them.
don't know. You didn't do anything to make me successful you didn't hold up your end of the bargain as the front office, as the executives of this team to bring in talent.
See, I don't.
We
think
have
it's all
questions. I think he's mad he lost Hollywood.
But Rob, hold on. That's like my wife going into her elementary principal and saying, listen, you gave me all of the IEP kids. You gave me none of the general education kids. So therefore, I'm going to give you shit in return.
Well, you got to understand that.
No, I'm understanding.
Unfortunately, because and I say this with all love because my wife is a teacher working for the Chicago public school system.
Wait, what grade, Rob?
So I understand.
Rob, I love you. What grade?
My wife teaches special education.
Okay, shit.
So she has to deal. She really has to deal with bull stuff. And I'm trying not to curse on your show.
Oh, I know, brother.
But you understand. Not only is she dealing with kids that actually have special needs, she's dealing with kids that have behavior problems that they label as.
Oh yeah, I know. I love your wife. I don't even know your wife, but I love her because what she does. But I get it, Rob.
And she really cares about the kids. But what I'm about to say, she will say it sucks, but you're right, babe, because our wives don't work in those positions where they can actually have a voice. See, it's nothing you can tell Lamar Jackson. I can speak up for myself because I really don't need you. You've paid me already. I'm in a position now to take care of my family. So now I can talk up for myself and say, hey, you know what? Screw you. You want me to go out here and make a miracle happen? First of all, look, our team was injured last year, which answers your question, Jay, of how did he get sacked so many times with a run-first offense? All his running backs was gone.
So Rob Scott.
I heard him last year.
Hold on.
That's what I'm saying, though. Your running backs are gone. You lose your top receiver in Hollywood Brown. Let's be honest. Right now, name me another receiver for the Baltimore Ravens.
Well, before Brown was even an issue, you always knew his number one target was Mark Andrews. Brown probably got the leftovers, but
that's the thing though. Marquise Brown left because he wasn't the number one receiver, and you question Lamar Jackson Armstrong. Lamar Jackson is saying you question Lamar.
Rob. So what I want to know is this, Rob Scott. I'm gonna promote you. I'm gonna promote you to general manager of the Ravens, and you have all autonomy to give whatever contract to Lamar Jackson you want to give him. What are you doing?
And that's my part. I'm not giving you a full a max contract.
Okay, so what are you giving him, Rob?
We'll negotiate. We'll talk. What's the potential he can make?
Okay, so that's my point. So and so what I'm saying.
What's the potential you can make, and then we gonna cut that down to size. Because I'm not giving you a max deal. It's just the same thing as the Brooklyn Nets should do with Kyrie Irving. I'm not giving you a max deal.
I get that. So to answer your question, it would be basically because I think Lamar is already at this point where he's like, "Hey, look, I'm going to final year of my contract. If you're not going to give me max, then we can talk at the end of the deal."
Hey, it is what it is. The Baltimore Ravens.
I'm just saying, if you're Lamar, you know he's coming off NFL MVP not that long ago, so he's probably going to tell you. I'm just saying.
Jay is long enough.
Right.
He hasn't really done anything significant since that MVP.
Man, and here's the thing, but here's the catch-22 you're in, right? Which is the same catch-22 that Arizona was in with Kyler Murray. Is the fact that there's no real quarterback on the market or even in the soon-to-be upcoming draft that you're going to give or even have that much confidence. So you know that Lamar Jackson for you and Kyler Murray is for Arizona, probably the best you're going to get. So do you, out of basic necessity as a quarterback, do you give Lamar the maximum, even though maybe you don't feel like he deserves it because you don't think you can get anything better?
First of all, I'm still not giving you the max because Lamar Jackson still has to play the regular season. You're still within your contract.
Yeah, I'd let him play out this season.
Right.
See how he does. and then negotiate from there, because you can always.
But then what if he has a great season and says, "Fuck you, I'm going to go to Carolina"?
Then buy.
The Ravens have all the control because they can franchise tag them.
Well, that's true. That's true. That's a good point.
You let them play out this
That's a good
season.
point.
You let them play out this season. If you don't get up to a deal next year, you can franchise tag them. So Lamar Jackson really don't have a whole lot of leverage.
Yeah, that's true. Hey, listen, I'm with you on all of that, and I think Rob, it's going to be interesting to see how we transgress coming to the offseason as to whether or not Lamar gets the full asking, or if Rob Scott is more in there where maybe we wait until next year and we don't discuss it right now, and then we talk about it.
I mean, it's really it's nothing to discuss. You still in your contract obligations. Contractual obligations.
That's what I'm saying. Exactly.
So my thing is, okay, you don't want to come to the OTAs. Just know that how you're notating things as a player, I'm notating things as a general manager.
I agree. You know what, Rob? Damn, I like him. Only Rob knows how to end a conversation on the right way. God, you just make it feel so warm and fuzzy on the inside. So we got LaShawn McCoy statements about Eric Bieniemy. Now, listen, for those of you that don't know, I am a big time Eric Bieniemy fan. And Frankie C here in our scripted let Jay know Yankees beating the Angels 7-1. Hey, I'm all good with that because it basically means the Astros are getting a game up on you guys or up on
Frankie the Yankee.
Hey, the Reds are beating the Red Sox 1-0 as well.
Astros don't play until about 9:40, so we got a while. Okay, LaShawn McCoy. I like Eric Bieniemy. I got to be honest with you. I've been an Eric Bieniemy supporter for a hot minute now, even though a lot of people don't, maybe for whatever reason, like I love Eric Bieniemy. To a point where I would have rather had Eric Bieniemy as the Dallas Cowboys head coach versus Mike McCarthy, and I've gone on record as having said him, Brian Flores, and a slew of other guys over Mike McCarthy. I hate Mike McCarthy. But anyway, this is about LaShawn McCoy and his statements against Bieniemy. Basically what LaShawn is saying, quote unquote, nobody hires Eric Bieniemy because they know what type of coach he is, end quote. Now, they don't hire him because they don't know what kind of coach he is. I don't know. What kind of coach is he that they don't hire him? Former KC running back said that he's not hired because of the coaching ability, and it's not racially motivated, but it's more based on his coaching ability motivated. A lot of people say they don't like the way that he interacts with the players. My question to you guys specifically, Gonzo and Rob, is the reason that he's not hired because of the lack of playing time or I should say, is LaShawn McCoy's comments about Eric Bieniemy about his coaching time? Because let's be honest, LaShawn McCoy only played 34% of the snaps. So my question is this, and Gonzo, you're first, and Rob, you're second. And, of course, in the comments, please put your answers in the comments and we'll put them up. My question is this. Is LaShawn McCoy's statements about Eric Bieniemy not being a good coach based on his playing time? That's the question. Gonzo, your thoughts?
I don't think so. And the reason I say that, because there's been other instances that have came out about Bieniemy's coaching style. You've seen him and Mahomes have some mix-ups and have some problems, and at the end of the game, they're saying different things. And there's been some other players that have came out and kind of complained about how he talks to him. So I think there's some legitimacy to what McCoy's saying there, but there also could be some of it could be that he was upset with how he was treated, how he was personally used there. Because like you said, he didn't get a lot of playing time in Kansas City. Running backs usually don't get a lot of touches in Kansas City. If you look at it with Mahomes, they don't give the ball to that running back very often. I think it's kind of a combination of both, because I do think there's something to it, because you've heard it from other players, just and not him. I mean, like I said, him and Mahomes have had issues. You've heard that there was a rift between him and Reed and Mahomes at the end of this season.
Right.
So I think that has something to do with it. I don't know why he don't get a coaching job. Maybe it's how he talks to people in his interviews. Some of it could be due to race as well. I mean, we know we have a problem with getting black head coaches in the NFL. So, I mean, don't get me wrong. We know that is an issue.
But it's an issue with getting black head coaches to the head coaching position, not in the NFL, but to the head coaching position specifically.
Yes, but especially in the NFL. NFL is worse than a lot of the other leagues.
Right.
Yeah, but with Bieniemy, I got to think that there has to be something that he's saying or doing that has to be affecting it as well, because you hear every year he gets hyped up as a top coaching candidate, does all these interviews, and for some reason he's not getting a job. So I think there is some legitimacy to what LeSean McCoy is saying.
So, Rob, my question is to this is, and obviously with what I've already said about Eric Bieniemy not getting along with the players, and everything that LeSean McCoy has said about Eric Bieniemy, the third thing I want to throw into this equation that I want you to base your answer on is that Andy Reid has vetoed a lot of Bieniemy's play calling, and maybe that Andy Reid is more responsible for the offense that Bieniemy is. I'm just asking a question. What do you think, Rob?
I can believe that. I mean, if we really be honest, Andy Reid was the only one speaking up for Eric Bieniemy. He would try to make it his business to tell reporters, to tell the media that Eric Bieniemy was responsible for the offensive side of the ball. But as Chris mentioned and alluded to, we've seen or heard about the problems he's had with Patrick Mahomes, and now other players are coming out and saying that Eric Bieniemy is not that good as a coach. That kind of goes to the reason of how the Chicago Bears actually get a general manager that was a general manager of the Kansas City Chiefs, and he doesn't even go with Eric Bieniemy. So that speaks volumes of who you are as a person, who you are as a coach. I know a lot of people question that play call in which he didn't realize how much time was still left on the clock without calling the timeout before they go into the halftime. Instead of kicking the field goal, you're going for a touchdown. So, I mean, it's been a lot of problems with Eric Bieniemy. So I can't really justify anything on his behalf just because the numbers and the stats have proven that there's an issue there.
And the same problem that Eric Bieniemy had with the way the half ended is the same in which, Eric what's that dude, man? I hate when I can't remember that dude's name. The offensive coordinator for Dallas ended with the way Dak Prescott entered the game. I hate when I can't remember their names. It's on the tip of my tongue, but for some reason,
quarterback. I can't think of his name now.
But you know what I'm saying? I think the way that Dallas ended the game, and the way that the Kansas City Chiefs, Kellen Winslow, God, why do I gotta remember that? The way that Kellen Winslow ended the game for Dallas, and the way that Eric Bieniemy ended the halftime for KC, is at the same level. It's not any damn different.
Kellen Moore,
one's white and one's black. So it is what it is.
Hey, Jay, Kellen Moore.
Winslow, Moore. I think Winslow's a tight end. I ain't gonna lie. Winsslow's a tight end, whatever.
I couldn't remember. I had to look it up. I ain't gonna lie.
Hey, that's why Unscripted has badass people that come on this show, because they fact check me. All right. Hey, the last thing I want to say about this before we move on is the fact that the NFL, and I think Rob's going to agree with this. I don't think he's going to deny it. I think Chris is going to agree with it. And I don't think, but if so, I'm going to give about a 3-second delay. And if they want to say whatever they want to say, then they say what they say. But my point is this: the NFL has a real issue with how they interview their head coaches, and I think it's been very experienced throughout this year. Not taking away from Peterson and Philadelphia, because he is a good quarterback developmental coach with what is needed there. in terms of their brand new quarterback that they just brought in. But the questions that I have, and me personally, and this is me personally, is in Denver, Houston, and New Orleans. Those are the three that I have. I would say New York, but Dable is a good coach. I can't fault New York for going. I don't like the way that they handled the situation. I thought the way they handled it was stupid and wrong and everything. But the fact that they went with Dable as a head coach, I can't fault it because Dable, what he did in Buffalo and the quarterback development of Josh Allen, I understand why they went with Dable. But at the same time, why are you bringing in Flores when you've already made your decision? That's the problem I have with New York. But we're going to exclude New York from this conversation because they did hire a capable coach for legitimate reasons. But Houston, New Orleans, Denver, really? Really? Over Brian Flores? Really? Those are the problems that I have with the NFL. Gonzo, I want you to lead off. And Rob, I want you to wrap it up. The three that I mentioned, and if you want to throw somebody else in there, please be. My problem is Brian Flores and NFL coaching experience this year for minorities was fucked up. Gonzalez, go ahead.
Oh yeah, there needs to be a lot of changes made to the NFL hiring processes, but unfortunately, I don't think anything's going to change until we get some of these owners out of there and get some younger owners into the league.
Yeah,
just like I say with the government, there needs to be a term on the Congress so your Congress changes with each generation because each generation is different, and I think that's the same thing in the NFL. We need to get some different owners in there, younger owners that think like today's world thinks, not guys that still think like back in the 60s and 70s. And I think that's going to be when you see a big change in all professional sports is when you get rid of some of these old ass owners and get younger owners.
Right.
I think that's the key to get everything more equal is getting younger people in there that think like people think today and not people that still living in the past.
No, I absolutely, definitely agree with that. Rob, your thoughts?
I agree. We like Chris said, we talked about this before when it came to the subject of, what we can do to, increase gun control in this country and whatnot. And the problem is there's still too many people with that old school mind of what minorities can and cannot do if they can lead, their franchises to the motherland, or if you can lead the people to the motherland. And my thing with that situation is, we've seen too many times where, and I hate the word minority, but I understand where it comes from. But, we've seen too many times where people of color have made great strides, whether that's been in technology, astrophysicists, astrosciences, medical, technology, anything. We've seen too many times where people of color have shown that we can completely get the job done. Right. And I believe that, until we get these new age thinkers in these positions of power, we're going to continue to see the same thing because unfortunately the people that control the money are the people with the old school way of thinking.
Yep. Right.
And they make sure that they control the money. They make sure that there's somebody always that thinks like them controls the money because they breed the next generation. Remember, people, hate is not learned. Hate is not something that you just come up with. It's a learned association. It's something that's taught. So they continue to teach hate, and that message gets across to the next generation.
Another thing that needs to be changed, we need to get the word minority out of our vocabulary.
I hate that word. I understand because what they're saying is if you're talking about geographically, there's more Caucasian people than people of color or people of different ethnicities within different parts of the country or different parts of the world. But
Hey, real
however,
quick, if you don't mind me speaking, though,
if you look at that, though, hold on, Jay. If you look at that, you can't call everybody the same race of Caucasian. You have Irish Americans, Italian Americans. Like there's different type of people, and
Yeah,
until
right.
people
No, I get
understand
that.
that
They
it's
say,
people,
hold on, come on now.
it's just people.
But hold on, but you got to understand the Census Bureau. That's what we base everything off of. Look, if you don't like the way the Census Bureau does things, when you get a thing in the mail that says, "Hey, I'm the Census Bureau. Tell me what race you are," blase, blase, mail it back to us, then it's your damn problem. But when the Census Bureau sends you out a card and asks you what your race is, they're trying to figure out what the ethnicity of the United States is made of. So because everything, I don't agree with it, but that's how we base everything off of, right?
But the thing is, it's the truth, Jay. Because if you look at it,
what I'm saying is
not even people from a point that don't complete the Census Bureau.
Though, Rob, when we say
I know when we say minority, we're talking about from a geographical standpoint.
Well, what I'm trying to say is the U.S. is made, and I don't understand. This is really weird to me. And of course, like I said, this is Census Bureau related. African Americans make up 12%. So how is that not a minority?
I get what you said. I just hate the word minority because
I don't like the word minority. I like the word.
That's not the way that they use it in. Because my thing is, if you was gonna discuss it in that way, just discuss it in that way. But like, if you know you're talking about a black person, instead of, I think sometimes people try to be politically correct, and you'll say minority, and I'm like, well, we ain't the. I just hate that word.
Well, people
I don't like it either.
It's just like me. It's just like for instance, I work in a trade show game. There's white carpenters, black carpenters, Hispanic carpenters, but they call it labor. And I never address my guys using the word labor because I hate that word. Right. It's like you guys are skilled workers. You're not labor. Okay. No, I get People are paying for your time. So my thing is, it's just the way you word something, and you'll be surprised at what you can say to make people feel better. It's not about if you're correct in the matter. Rob, it's the way you word it.
Rob, everything in this world, you know what? And I hate this, Rob, because this is what I hate. What I hate is the fact is this, and I get it, man, because I don't know how to word this properly. So, Rob, I'm gonna ask for your guidance, but I hate it when the first word comes out of your mouth is, well, what is your race? Everything is race.
I feel like we're all Americans.
Yes, I'm that.
Yes, we're all Americans.
That's what I hate because we all live in the United States of America, and I feel like that's our race.
No, we're Americans.
We live here in this country.
That's the point. I get it.
You shouldn't classify me whether I'm a Black American, a Jewish American, a Mexican American, Puerto Rican American. Like, even though Puerto Ricans are technically Americans.
But Rob, I know that. But Rob, watch this. Every survey you take, every resume you fill out.
Of course. I know.
What did they ask you? Like, dude, what does it matter what my fucking race is? Is it gonna be a better employee?
Right, but see, that's the like P. Diddy said in that movie, "Get him to the Greek." And excuse my language. Everything is a mind fuck.
P. Diddy.
Hey, no, but what he said was real. It's all about a mind fuck. It's all about mind fucking. If I can get you to say things a certain way or to believe things a certain way, Jay, I don't care if you saw that the sky was blue every day. If I can tell you for 30 days the sky is purple, the sky is purple, the sky is purple, and you can get to believe what I'm telling you, then I won the game.
No, I get you.
That's all it is.
Hold on, time out. You know why, Rob? I want you to hold your thoughts because it's going to segue. Because this whole conversation right now is segueing into the last topic of tonight. So hold on to your britches. Josh Donaldson apologizes to the Robinson family. Now, this is the last topic of the night. This is why I want you to hold on to everything you had to say because it all ties in with this. And this is what I want to ask you about, Rob specifically, because Rob, I hate to tell you this, but Gonzo, I think, is Hispanic and I'm white. I don't know who else can answer this question better than you. So I'm going to ask this question is this. And this is, and I don't have any skin in the game. I don't have any preconceived notion in the game. I'm just going to ask the questions that pique my curiosity. Josh, or first of all, Tim Anderson comes out and says that he is the Jackie Robinson of the era because he wants to make the game fun and he wants to change the game to make it fun and this, that, and the other. So he comes out and publicly says that he is the Jackie Robinson of this era to make the game fun and to change the game from where it's currently at. Okay. We know what Tim has said. We know in the context in which he's trying to make the game go in. Then you have Josh Donaldson, who comes out. Now, these guys apparently were friends at some point before all this happened. And according to Josh, now this is according to Josh, his theory behind calling Tim Jackie is basically playing upon like, how are you Jackie when you think you're changing the game when Jackie Robinson went through much, much greater things to change the game? He's basically calling Tim Anderson out. According to him, he says he's calling Tim Anderson out basically on calling himself Jackie. Not that it's racially motivated on Josh's part. He's just saying what Tim said. Now, everybody has said that Josh Donaldson is racist. Everybody has said that Josh Donaldson is this, that, and the other. But who's to say who's right and who's wrong?
You know what? That's a tricky situation.
It is tricky.
Because I can understand both. Like, how many times have we been in an argument? Let's say somebody say, well, you know what? Let's say you were arguing about basketball. And they were like, well, you know what? I'm the Michael Jordan of this court. And then you make a slick comment like, well, okay, Michael. You know what I mean?
Yeah, it's like that's exactly what I'm saying.
I understand exactly what you said. Like, okay, Jackie. Like, you know, and sometimes people need to, I think the thing that will help everybody in the world is if you stop listening to what was said and listen to what was said to make somebody either say that thing or how was it said. People need to understand context. You know, it's a different situation if I said, you know, man, you know, somebody kicked the cat. You like, oh my God, you kicked the cat. You're an animal abuser. But I never told you that cat was hissing at me for no reason and clawing at me. And I had to either kick the cat or let the cat hurt me. You didn't listen to that context. You get what I'm saying? And you know what? You got to understand the context of the situation. I think people are so quick
it's so
to
easy
react
though. It's
without.
Hold on now. It's so easy though. It's so easy to label Josh a racist because let's be honest. Everybody that I've seen in the comments, not when I say everybody, I'm talking about the comment sections of people that are generalized people, not like affiliated with the networks. I'm just talking about generalized comments that have him painted out to be a racist. And I don't think that Josh is a racist. Do I think he's an asshole maybe for saying, hey, Jackie, this, that, there, because he's trying to fuck with you know, Anderson. I think it's more of an Anderson and him issue than it is a Jackie issue. He just happened to say Jackie because he referred to himself as Jackie. And now everybody's trying to make him out to be a racist. But I think a lot of this is so blown out of proportion, and I don't know exactly where the left is and where the right is in all this equation.
But that's why I said that people have to understand context. Yeah, the easiest thing is to just say, "Oh, he's a racist. He was trying to label him as Jackie Robinson because it's a black thing." You know, it's not always that case. That the harder thing is to actually listen to people and understand where they were coming from. Right. And I think as people, we need to start choosing the harder situation. Exactly. I, as a black man, Jay, can't say I want you to look at me as an equal and then I get butthurt at the first joke you get because I thought you was referring to something that was black.
Right.
I can't do that. I have to understand where you were coming from. Why? Because I joke with my black friends all the time about things of the very same nature. If I as a black man told this black man, okay, Jackie, everybody would have laughed and understood where I was coming from. Because he's a white guy saying it. Now everybody was like, oh, he's a right. Come on, man. We gotta cut this shit.
But that's the whole point, though, I think, Rob.
But that's why I'm saying as people, we have to cut the shit.
Yeah,
we have to be held accountable.
I think if you're a professional athlete,
as a people, it's becoming too easy to just
if I'm Donaldson's, if I'm any agent,
take the racism. Like Rob said,
hold on now. Watch this now. Let me tell you where it can be helped. If I'm and I blame on some of these agents now. Look, some of these agents get some young kids that don't know about life outside of whatever and culture diversities and all this. If I'm the agent, of these guys and I'm making 6% off of their fucking income, 6% off of your income, or 10%, whatever the agent's percentages is, then I feel like I've got to do diligence to inform my client at the very beginning. And if you're coming out of college, going into the draft, hey, listen, young Lamar Jackson, young, Freeman, whoever it is, hey, when you come in this league, you've got to watch what you say because everything can be held against you. So you're better off holding your opinions to yourself and just answering the question for what it is. Hey, how did this play turn out? Well, the ball was this way, the ball was that way. But don't start giving and definitely don't start saying things to other players that could be taken the wrong way. What I'm trying to say is the agent should be telling his client before he goes into the arena of public notoriety, hey, look, you're under the microscope at this point. Mm-hmm. You need to watch every damn thing you say because whatever you say can be taken the wrong. What I'm saying is the agent should be, for their 6% that they're taking off these guys, they need to be educating them to the ways of professional mediocrity or celebrity-isms, or because maybe they don't know, or maybe they've never been educated in their lives, and maybe this is the first education that they're getting to the way life is.
Well, my thing is, look how much shit gets talked in sports, and you're telling me that this is the worst thing that's ever been said on a baseball diamond?
You're right. You know
what I mean? Or on during a football game, or on the NBA court. This is the thing that we're going to classify as racist out of. I guarantee there's been a lot worse things said than this.
Dude, I understood the conversation, and I've heard of this topic, but I haven't really explored it because it just wasn't worth going to look at. Like, I understand.
Yeah, and I agree with you.
He was joking. He was like, "Okay, Jackie."
But that's the problem. Right? That's the problem, Rob. That's the problem. The problem is, you know it. I know it. I guarantee you, Tim Anderson knows it. So does Josh Donaldson knows it. But Tim Anderson knows as the minority. Okay, because that's what it is. And he's white. If I make a big stink of this,
well, you know what the problem is. All this is alluding to is that America has still yet to have that conversation.
Exactly.
About
race. I agree with you. No, I definitely agree with you. But I got to be honest with you. And maybe this is even on the parents. If I'm raising my kids to the point of, hey, look, you can't make these kinds of comments.
Yeah, I mean, well, that's the same. That's the same way we're raising our kids. But that's the same way we're raising our kids. Hey, try to avoid the police. If you get pulled over, this is how you talk to them.
You know what I'm saying?
It's the same way across the board. And my thing with that is that's what makes this country so scary.
Yeah, it
is. Because anything can go left at any moment. And I think us as a people, when I say us as a people, I'm talking about the American
the whole group.
The American people need to have a conversation and realize we in this together. If somebody comes and attack America right now, us black people can't say, well, they wasn't coming at us. No, they attacked all of us.
Right.
We live
and again,
here. You get what I'm saying? So my thing with that is the damn world needs to understand that everything that's said ain't meant to have a racist connotation on. Or you know, it's the man was making a joke. I don't care if he was white, black, or green. You brought up something and I made a joke about it. You said you was Jackie Robinson, I laughed about it because you saying you Jackie Robinson is disrespectful to Jackie Robinson.
But that's the whole point. No, that's the whole point. And that's why I think if I'm an agent, I should be telling my client, hey, look, X being Tim Anderson may take a joke a certain way at a certain time, and you think all's good.
Well, yeah.
But hold on.
But I think these conversations happen.
Hold on now. But X, 3 months from now, 3 years from now, that same joke may not take it the same way. So my point, if I'm an agent, I'm saying, hey, look, let's take all that out of the equation. You need to be like a guy, and I hate to say it, but go out there and play baseball and don't go left or right. Just play the damn sport for which you're paid for, and you're good. Because if you go left or if you go right, it could hinder your endorsements going forward.
And see that, and as a parent, that's one reason I made sure I sent my son to a school.
No, of course. And if parents are the first line of approach.
I'm just saying to a diversified school, so he grew up around everybody. I didn't want him, I didn't want him to see people different. I wanted him to,
But not everybody has that. But not everybody has that upbringing, though. You know what I'm saying?
That's what I'm getting to. That's a big problem in our world. Is you got a lot of people that send their kids to private schools or send them here or send them there, and they don't get they guard them and they never get to experience the real world till they get older, and that's a big problem because then they go out and they do look at people different because they've never had that chance to be diversified. That's why.
But again, I think it goes.
Should go to the same school. Everybody should grow up together.
Right.
We're all like Rob said. We're all Americans. It shouldn't be all this diverse separation. You should go to diversified schools. Everybody should be together.
It's you know what though? But it's almost like you want it because I'm the same mode thinking as you're in, Gonzo. So it's almost like you want to take our way of thinking, take Rob's way of thinking in terms of hey, as America, we should be able to take a joke or whatever, put those two together and be okay and move forward. But you know what? That's not the way America works.
Oh, it's not. But
that's the sad part.
But there's also is no reason for me to say that that's not the problem.
Oh no!
Just because that's not how it works. I'm calling America on this BS.
Yeah. No, I'm with, and again, that's what I'm saying, Rob. I so am behind everything you're saying. It's just America doesn't look at things like that.
Yeah, and it should, but you know what? That's the reason why people like us and people like that do what we do, that have these platforms.
Yeah,
conversations like what me, you, and Gonzo are having right now are needed.
Yeah,
I'm a black guy. He's a Latino guy. He's a white guy. And we're up here having this conversation.
This in a melting pot, I don't know what the fuck is.
But we're having this conversation, and we're also letting each other give each other what you might be thinking. Because sometimes I can't think like a white man, Jay, because I'm not white. You can't think like a white man, Jay, because you're not. I mean, like a black man, Jay, because you're not black. And vice versa with Chris. So the thing is, the only way America is going to get better is not just through conversation, but through actually listening to understand each other's point of view. That's it, bro. And until we get to that, it's always going to be situations like this.
Hey, if you don't mind, and Chris, I don't know what you're pressed on time or what you're looking like is, but I feel like God is I feel like my life experience and God has kind of put me, in this situation. I want to talk about something that was really dear to my heart and really close to me and really weird to me, and all at the same time. I moved, Rob, back in 2002 to Washington, D.C. on the southeast side, Anacostia, right across from the Navy Yard on the Yellow Line. And I'll never forget it. My wife, who was at the time, she's now my ex-wife, but at the time she was half Hispanic, half white. She told me about a house that we could qualify for to buy in DC, and it was very hard to get a house at a reasonable rate because the housing market was off the chain, and I wound up buying this house, Rob, at $93,000. It was a shithole of a house. It wasn't a great house. It was just a shitty house that me and the wife put a lot of time and effort into to make it nice. But the point I'm making is I went from an area that I lived in that was predominantly white, maybe a little bit of Hispanic, maybe a little bit of African American, but predominantly white. And I moved to Southeast DC that was 100% African American. 100%. Like when I say 100%, I mean 100%. And it wasn't the easiest of African Americans on my land. It was pretty rough goings. They didn't know how to take me. I didn't know how to take them when I first moved there. It was really, really touch and go. I was called Cracker. That was my new nickname, was Cracker. I wasn't called Jason. I wasn't even asked what my name was. I was just referred to as Cracker because I knew I was the only white person within a 15-block radius. I was the only white person. But you know what I did? And I didn't know how to address the situation. I didn't know how to make myself accepted in the environment in which I moved myself into. So what I did was I got up a trash bag, and I started every night about 7:00 until midnight. I would gather up trash throughout the neighborhood. I would walk every street, block by block by block, and I would have probably about 15 trash bags, and I would just gather up people's trash. I would just put trash in a trash bag. To the point where everybody knew who I was. I was the white trash bag picker-upper. Everybody knew within a 15-block radius, everybody within a 2-week window knew exactly who I was. They knew exactly what I was about. And I picked up their trash. If they threw it down, it went into my trash bag. And I earned their respect that way. And I will tell you this. Everybody has been wrecked into, robbed. Nobody ever messed with my house. Nobody ever messed with my cars. Even when my mom came in town, they didn't mess with stuff. Because I earned their respect. And I feel like that's the way us as Americans have to be. We have to earn each other's respect, regardless of skin color. We have to earn each other's respect. It doesn't matter what color you are. It just matters what type of person you are. What is your character? What do you bring to the neighborhood? Do you bring positivity to the neighborhood? Then I got your back. Whether you're black, white, brown, yellow, I don't care. If you bring drugs to the neighborhood, I can't support you. No matter what your skin color is. And let me tell you something. I'll be honest with you. I bought marijuana, some really good marijuana, off a white guy. So shut the fuck up with all that bullshit. I'm just saying.
Well, you know what, Jay? What I got out of your story before I get out of here, because my wife.
Yeah, no. Go ahead. I'm sorry. Go ahead,
but
Rob.
No. You good? But what I would say is the moral of that story is, regardless of what communication barriers that you guys were going through, and it started off rough. You know, you had your thoughts on them. They had some words for you. So, yeah. But the thing was, somebody, whether it was you, whether it was them, came to an understanding that we were in this together.
Yeah.
And what you looked at it is, I live over here. I want the value of my property to go up, which means I need to make.
Rob,
not even that. No, I'm just saying.
No, Rob, you know what the day was? No, for real. You know what the day was? It was the fact that several 9-year-olds that called me Cracker, that went to the elementary school that was literally half a block from my house.
Yeah.
Eventually asked me what my name was and started to call me Jason.
Yeah.
That's the moral of the story. The moral of the story is that we all have to stop looking at skin tones, start looking at people, and let's go from there, and we're good. Because everybody's going to let you down no matter what their skin tone is. People in general will let you down. But we have to stop looking at the skin tone and start looking at the character when we look at people. Character could be everything over skin tone.
That's what I look at, and I'm glad my mother raised me in that way.
I'm glad she did too, because I love you.
Hey, I love you too, brother. And honestly, one of my mom's best friends was Puerto Rican. I grew up I grew up, you know what I'm saying, with that philosophy of understanding. You know, one of my mom's best friends is white. One of my best friends is white. So, you know, I've always and luckily I've been in situations where, I've been to an all-black school, but then I've also been to a school where it's very diverse. I had college life, where of course it's diverse in college life and meeting new people and trying new things. So I've always had that mindset of, you know, you can always learn something new every day. You can learn something from the most unexpected people. You know,
absolutely. So, I totally agree with you.
So I live life like that, and I'm glad that I do.
All right, folks, this is Unscripted, and let me tell you something. This show is absolutely, unequivocally unscripted because I didn't know that we were going to be getting quite as far deep into the epitome of what America is in terms of racial lines and things of that nature. But you know what? I'm not going to stop it either. Because I want this show to be about things other than sports. I mean, I want sports to be, that's our main thing. We talk sports. But if it goes beyond that, I'm okay with that too because we need to talk. We need to put the issues on the table and we need to talk because
this
that's
is what everybody needs to be doing.
Yeah, because this is how America gets better. This is how we as a people get better. We don't get better unless we talk. And I love Rob. With all of the heart that's in me, I love Rob and I appreciate him. And I love Gonzo with all that heart that's there. And I appreciate that within him. And I love this show, man. And we're going to go into final thoughts. My final thoughts are this. Golden State plays on Thursday. They win game 1. And I do believe what Rob is saying. We go game 6. But I think it's over in 6. I don't think we go beyond 6.
Warriors in 5.
Warriors in 5. I got
He's the Warriors in 5. Holy shit. Rob?
Yes, Lord.
Rob said 5-6. I don't care as long as I'm celebrating with the ring. That's all I care about. Rob, hey, I love Rob. Rob, you'll get the shortest, quickest to the most direct point ever when you want to know something, and I appreciate that about Rob. Rob's amazing with that. I kind of go a little long-winded. Gonzo's not really all that long-winded, but hey, this is Unscripted. The show started out with me, Gonzo, and Chris, and it ended up with me, Chris, and Rob. And you know what? At the end of the day, this show is amazing, and I love these guys. We're a member of All Sports, All Plays Network. You can find Gonzo on Gonzo Sports Room. You can also find him on the ASAP Networks. Rob, what's your show? Easy Money?
Yep. Easy Money is the show that's on the All Sports Play Networks. And also I do the ASAP Afternoon Blitz afternoon show for the ASAP Network.
And Rob, you can find him on Facebook at Rob 2 Cents. Rob, is there any other place other than Rob's 2 Cents we catch you at besides ASAP?
Oh, man. Hey, man, you know, Rob's 2 Cents. On YouTube, Spotify, iTunes, also the Rewind Sports 60 Roku channel, along with Apple and Android TV on the Rewind Sports 60.
All right, folks, it's your boy Jay McLovin, Rob, Chris, Logan.
Hey, man, love you, man. Thanks for having us on the show, my brother.
Hey, your ass is on this show anytime you want to come on, and you know this. And by the way, I gotta confirm it with Pride, but Rob, can I confirm you for Thursday at 7?
You got me on Thursday, brother.
All right. So all I got to do now is lock Pride in for Thursday at 7. And I don't think that's going to be an issue. I think it's going to be okay. Because last time I checked with Pride, he's not exactly one to back down from a challenge when I call him out. So
you know what, Jay? Just tell Pride Rob want all the smoke.
Don't worry. Look, trust me, this is the easiest thing to put together. So I'm just trying to tell you right now, the entire show.
I'm bringing
something. It's just so phenomenal to trumpet. The entire show is going to be about smoke. So Thursday
I'm bringing
is
popcorn
smoke.
for Thursday's show.
Hey, I'm bringing popcorn, gummy bears. I'm bringing everything. I'm bringing in hot dogs, the relish, and the damn fucking Five Guys fries. I'm bringing it all in because it's going to be.
I might even drink a few beers for Thursday's show.
You know what? I'm going to go get a few beers too. But this is going to be smoking hot. We got Rob 2 cents, or I call him Rob $1.25, versus Pride. Thursday, 7 p.m. Eastern time, before Game 1 of the NBA Finals. You don't want to miss this because
I respect Pride so much. I'm gonna do some real life research.
Hey, I got a feeling, folks, you don't want to miss Thursday because I know Pride pretty damn well, and he don't just take things lightly. He usually comes all equipped necessary. So Rob, as well as he probably has it in hand, may want to do some of that research.
Oh, I'm coming ready.
You heard it. Rob 2 cents. All right, I call him Rob 25. He coming with the smoke. Let's see if Pride answers or if Pride backs down. God, it's going to be fucking amazing. I'll see you guys later. It is unscripted. Oh, my God. I can't wait for Thursday. Have a nice time. We out of here.
We gone.
Oh, no, we're not. Hold on. Now we go.
I don't wanna hear any more small talk. Off that short pier, take a long walk. My style ain't free cause it ain't off top. I'm at your throat, go get a cough drop. I don't wanna hear any more small talk. Off that short pier, take a long walk. My style ain't free cause it ain't off top. I'm at your throat, go get a cough drop. It's Kush. I love me too much and your brain turn to mush. Fall flat on your tush. You couldn't handle the product I push. I guess I'm just used to it, I just do it. Like Nike swoosh, none of that Reggie Bush. Cause I'm top shelf, I ain't got wealth. But I'm on my grind like park rails. I'd sell the shoes right off my 2 feet. Then add one, that's a yard sale. Got dumb bars that be smarter than Harvard, Yale. Take your pictures elsewhere. You wanna be TMZ, I wanna be VIP. Quit pandering, I'm not answering. Cause I don't wanna hear any more small talk. Off that short pier, take a long walk. My style ain't free cause it ain't off top. I'm at your throat, go get a cough drop. I don't wanna hear any more small talk. Off that short pier, take a long walk. My style ain't free cause it ain't off top. I'm at your throat, go get a cough drop. All of that bark and no bite, that's alright. Not everyone can be the big dog. Take a walk, kick rocks. Can't keep me out cause I pick locks. They hearing me knocking, I'll never be stopping. I keep this shit popping.